Take it easy, guys. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other side there, Dara, because why do I have somebody yapping in my ear? I don't like people yapping in my ear, Dara. I don't like that at all. There we go. Now we got the OG Darwin joining us again today. What's up, my man? We got Mr. Jonathan Easy Trader, Vic Yan Novak, as well as Cesar Sandoval. I didn't do it this time. Blind Leader. We got Matt Easy. I like that name. Sounds like he's an easygoing guy. Ponzi, Fonzie. What's up, Lambo Traded Extraordinaire, Big Asian, as well as Alaric B. We got Arc Gamer, Chill Vibes, Mr. Longshorts. Let's go, he says. What up, says MB3, my main man, Adam DeLuce. What's going on? We got Stock Up. We got Jimmy J. We got 1320. Oh, we got Gaurav Anurag. That's what she said is in the house as well. Sixto V, Mike Walter, Matthew Booth, Pillsbury. We got Vin Doe, Michael Lewis, TH Silvera, World Traveler. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Ralph Woodward, Randy B, RB Sniper 22 and Royal Youth. Hey Davis joining us today, Adara, and Ron Swanson. Many different others. Couldn't get to everybody. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Also, Ron Swanson, I like your name. Shout out to Parks and Recreation. I'm guessing that's a reference to that. How are you doing this fine morning, Sharif?
Fantastic. Weather's really nice out there. The morning walk was nice and breezy. Everything is going good. The market's pamping up, up, up. It goes 1.6 on the NQ. What are you looking at?
Well, I just got filled in on. Why did I like on? Also, because I know Sean said it's unlikely anyone would be trading on the show. But I did like on here at 41.20s. Why did I like on at 41.20s? I'll stop calling it that. Basically, I like this one. I mean, to be fair, that is a sticker. But I like this one here because look at this little area of resistance we had a little bit here in the pre. Then it turns to support. I was watching the book. It is like a skosh spready, but I mean, I traded a little yesterday, so like I can't really complain. I liked it, and I think we can start piecing things out here as we get to above 50. So I'm going to set my first exunt here for 41.51s with half of the position. I'm also willing to add as we go, but like I want to secure a little bit of the bag. Also, you might be like, Adara, where would you leave though? Well, I'm risking 25 pennies, looking to make 30 pennies for the first part of this position. It's like a slightly, a skew risk to reward ratio, but the reward outweighs the risk, so I can live with it. I've said this before. I feel like for me, the risk to reward ratios are always going to be a little bit tailor-made. When I scalp, it's literally like, what do I see in the book and the tape? That's kind of what it guides me a little bit on. But regardless, I'm risking here into 90s, 40-90s. Why am I risking into 40-90s? Okay, A, look at this little we had here, right? Look at that support. B, look at where we wicked into. And this is on multiple time frames. We have that nice little area. So I do like this for the time being. We shall see. We are a cool 6 pennies in Le Money. So let's see if on can put on those running shoes and sprint a little bit higher here. On.
Oh.
On. I'm going to stop saying this now. How are you doing?
All right. I'm shorting Apple at 221 over here. This is a previous area of resistance. We're going to give this one the old community college try. We'll look to wet our beak possibly at 82 for that 80 level. I'm going to give this to about above 20, 221.20. I need to give it above this area crest over here. If I don't, then I'm not really trading it right. In fact, I'd like to have it above 40 personally to deal with this crest over here. But we'll look. I was possibly looking at a head and shoulders pattern on Apple that didn't really kind of manifest. This is the 5-minute look. And the reason I say it didn't manifest, well, it came up and basically back into that area of key resistance again. It's supposed to break down from the neckline, then come back and retest the neckline. So we'll take the short at, well, we're in the short at 221. I'll give this around the fifth of a dollar. I also have a different trade I got stopped out on. I want to talk about that. It's a small cap gapper. It goes by the ticker HUYA. The reason I got long here and here was to defend an previous area of resistance, what I was assuming would be a current area of support. That's that 5.25, generally 5.25. There's no exact level because they're not all the same area resistance levels, but it broke through that level quite aggressively. I gave it to below this area consolidation, but once it broke 18 pennies, I had to get out of Dodge. So that's no longer on the book for me. It is still, though, above VWAP, HUYA, up 15 some odd percent. Volume's not bad. It's not the biggest small cap gapper du jour, nor do I think there's enough eyes on it. Hence why possibly no continuation. Trading around 515 right now. Volume weighted average price is at 508. So technically, I mean, it's still tradable as a possible breakout long, but it's really not doing a whole lot. So I'm in Apple. I'm about 6 pennies, 5 pennies out of the money at the moment. This breaks to 21.20. That's going to be the end of the trade. So we're going to have to risk about 20 pennies over here. But it looks like Apple really wants to go to the high side. We'll figure that out, but we're not going to delay the lesson any longer. So let's get right to it. There's no real specific trading strategies today, guys. We're talking about what really happens during these earnings plays. I kind of want to give you guys a behind-the-scenes look. Possibly some of you already know this, some of you don't, but let's get right to it. We're talking about earnings all week this week, just as we did last week. Today, we're talking about earnings whispers and leaks. Yes, it's not just a website. That website is named after an actual thing, which is the leaking of earnings, hence earnings whisper. So let's get right to it. The financial world is a complex ecosystem where information is power. Haven't heard that before. Understanding the role of earnings whispers and leaks can certainly provide you valuable insights into how the market moves and the market dynamics. So let's get right to it. Understanding what an earnings whisper is. Essentially, what is it, right? So it's essentially unofficial statements of a company's earnings, like earnings per share, revenue, blah, 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 that circulates amongst investors and analysts before the official release. So leaks. These estimates often originate from anonymous sources within the company or the industry in general. And its impact is quite, widespread. Whispers can significantly influence stock prices, especially when they diverge sharply from official analyst estimates. So this is the important thing. It's the operative phrase here. What we're looking at is when we get these whispers or leaks of earnings, the first thing to do is to compare them to the analyst estimate to see whether they jive or whether there's a clear deviation, because it's the comparison to the analyst estimates. It's in comparison to the previous guide given by the company that's going to cause the stock to react or not react. So for example, company XYZ, I didn't want to name anybody by name here, but I will in a second. Company XYZ, where an unverified whisper of a significant earnings beat led to pre-earnings rally, only to be followed up by a sharp decline when the actual results fall short of those expectations. Case in dang point. Facebook. So I'm going to get stopped out of Apple here because it's on the way up into 222. So I should be getting stopped out here. Why am I not getting stopped out? What is happening? How come I'm short? This is very unusual. What's happening over here? All right. Well, I'm just going to flatten out. Okay. Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah. All right. So Facebook, Q2 for Facebook. Yes, it wasn't called Meta at this point. It was still Q2 2018. Facebook example. This is a very interesting one. So before the Q2 2018 earnings report, there was significant anticipation of the company's financial performance. Analysts were all, in agreement. There was a consensus estimate predicting strong revenue growth with a focus on user growth to be impacted. However, there were whispers and leaks suggesting that Facebook's earnings might not meet these expectations, with actually some hints with potential issues of user growth and engagement. And that's exactly what happened. When they officially released their Q2 2018 earnings, the company reported revenue and user growth figures that were way lower than the consensus estimate. The market reacted sharply. Facebook tanked 20% at the time. That was the biggest move down. But go back and have a look at 2022, and then we'll talk about that. It wiped out more than $120 billion in that one day back in 2018. It was one of the largest single-day losses in market history. And here, at the time. And then we saw worse than that in 2022, Adair. But this is the headline over there. Facebook plunges on more than 24% on revenue miss and projected slowdown. This was kind of the story that everybody always points to when they talk about these earnings whispers and the big deviation from what analysts were looking for to what actually was being whispered amongst market participants. So first of all, how do we use these earnings whispers, right? First of all, you got to treat them with skepticism, right? While whispers can offer potential trading opportunities, it's crucial to approach them with caution. Not all whispers are accurate. That probably goes without saying. Cross-verification here, super important as well. Compare whispers, again, to the analyst estimates, again, to the company guide. What was the company guiding? What were analysts looking for? Kind of to gauge their credibility. And risk management. If you're going to trade on any of these, you really need to consider your position sizing, and you need to employ stop losses in case things really take a turn for the worse. Whispers, though, are a little bit different than leaks. Leaks are, this is a problem now. Now we're going to talk about this. Now we're talking about, possible insider trading territory here, and this is why I want to mention. So what is a leak? An earnings leak occurs when confidential financial information is prematurely disclosed to individuals outside the company. And there's really legal consequences for this, right? You can deal with insider trading. Individuals who trade on leaked information could face criminal charges. Example, company XYZ CEO shares confidential information with a friend, and that friend trades on it. Could be some trouble. There's also corporate liability that specific company can face, right? So the company doing the leaking, they may be liable for the actions of their employees if they're acting as agents of the company. Great example of this is Rajaratnam and the Galleon Group. Who remembers this? This was back, I believe, in 2008. He was the founder of Galleon Group, a hedge fund. It was one of the largest hedge funds in the world at its peak. It was known for very aggressive trading strategies. And Raj was really the center of that whole thing. And then in October of 2009, he was arrested, later convicted. One of the key pieces of evidence against him was he received non-public inside information about several companies' quarterly financial results ahead of their earnings. One notable example of that was his boy, Rajat Gupta at Goldman Sachs, who hooked him up with some of that. Really? With Goldman's quarterly results, to which Raj used to trade on. And then obviously we know the rest is history. So there's umpteen examples about using insider information, about using earnings whispers, and I thought just to mention that to you guys. And here is the lovely individual and the story about him and the demise of Galleon Group as well as himself. Now, let's talk about the role of social media in propagating these earnings whispers or earnings leaks. Certainly, there's an amplification of the whispers and leaks vis-a-vis social media, which have accelerated the spread of earnings-related information, both accurate and inaccurate. And then there's also sentiment analysis that we can use social media for. I know my platform has a social media sentiment score. It goes on X, it goes on all the different platforms, kind of uses AI to gauge what is being said, or not, I guess not said, possibly, about a company, and then combines or quantifies that into a sentiment score that can help provide insights into market expectations. And basically, one of the filters that I use at times. And then there's also social media as now the focus of the regulators. Regulatory scrutiny is starting to take place on social media, where they're increasingly focusing on this platforms as a source of potential market manipulation. I didn't want to, cite Catman or anything because he hasn't been indicted of anything, nor do I really think he should be. But there is another way, obviously, that we propagate that information. We do it through social media. So I just wanted to kind of mention all the different earnings-related components to these type of things because we often hear about them, but we don't speak too much about them. Apple's going here, and it is really inching into high day. You get it, Katina, man. 221.71 HOD. We're at that 50 penny level right now, about 2 pennies away from that $0.50. I'm going to be all eyes and ears to see what we do, Adara, at the $0.75.
Yeah, I am. So on, I am very happy with right now. I just added a little bit to this position. I want to talk about why I added a little bit to this position because on, quite frankly, is just on. I did get my fill there at 41.50. In retrospect, I arguably should have added to the position there instead of taking out some there, but it's okay. I just added back in again at 75 because that was an area we held pretty decently. I would like to see what we do at 42s. I looked at the daily chart for on as well to kind of see if there's, because we're basically near high of days. For profit-taking purposes, where should I be keeping my eyes out, right? Where should I be looking? So for on, if the daily chart will load for me again, because there were some levels I liked, we're actually kind of near the top of range. The on's been, I want to turn to Sharif for calling that 36 level on the daily this morning. Really nice support, but also a little bit resistance here at 42s. So if we get above into like 42.25s, I'd probably take out another piece of the position here. I was comfortable adding. I know like 50 cents of the money, kind of an odd place to add, but I liked it because it was holding up. And I was like, you know what, Adara, we're in this uptrend. We're basically kind of at a pretty key area of resistance turn support. I don't want to say flat top break, but that breaking above the 41.50 was a pretty pivotal area in my opinion. With that in mind, I know I initially said I was, going to be like leaving here as a stop if we got out. If we got below 41, I have to change that. If right now, if we get below 41.50, that's where I'll have to get out. So basically, I'm okay with being about flat on the average position. Happy I added in. I'm trying to get a little bit more aggressive. What I've realized too, and this is why I'm really happy, is I feel like the trading in terms of processes has improved since I hit the P&L, is because now I'm making decisions based on, do I like this trade? Is this good for me to learn? Is this a strategy I want to continue practicing and building on, rather than, am I going to be profitable on it? You know what I mean? Like if I hadn't taken those Lily trades yesterday, quite honestly, I would have been up on the day. But I'm very happy I took them because A, I stand by both of them, and B, I would have regretted not taking them. With that in mind, I want to talk about Tesla. So Tesla, I actually am happy generally with what I did here. I got long, and I've talked about this. I trade Tesla. Most stocks, I mostly trade off the 5-minute and then higher time frames. Tesla, I still look at the 5 and higher, but I always look at the 1 minute in Tesla because I find for scalping purposes, there's things that you can see in the 1 minute, little sentiment changes that you cannot see on other time frames. Tesla, we had, I'm going to estimate here, a cool, 10 to 15 red 1 minute candles. Then we get a little bullish engulfing on the 1 minute. So I know bullish engulfing of the 1 minute kind of means nothing, but if you look at how much this engulfed compared to all that downside with those topping tail candles, I was like, I watched the book. That 205.40 held support just gorgeously. I was risking less than 10 pennies on this initially. I said if we get below 205.30, I'm out. We didn't. We pop up. I actually add in. I average up here at 205.50s, which I was pretty happy with. Average up. Then we push higher, take some out here at 205.70s. I was looking to get out at 206s. Then we even moved down in the market. Unfortunately, I was not able to get out where I wanted to because I didn't realize I still had an order out here, so it wouldn't let me sell right away. So due to some technical difficulties caused by my own negligence here, got out a little bit lower than I wanted to, but still happy with the general trade other than the fat fingering. But that's the whole point. If you don't make mistakes, you can't learn from them. So just make sure you've cleared up all your orders there, Adara, before you try to punch out a Tesla. All good, though. Generally happy with the processes, and happy I tried something that wasn't a pure scalp on Tesla, because I generally only scalp on Tesla. But yeah, again, with Tesla, it's not just going to be the 5 minute for me. It's also the 1 minute. On right now, getting near the area at which I will have to be running out. But right now, we're just still watching that. But also, if there's any tickers you guys are watching, get in that chat and vote. Exclamation point. Join. Space, $, whatever ticker you're interested in, please let us know, because if you don't vote, then we don't have any tickers for Sean and Neil to look at, and that's not very fun. So if you want to see the Neilage and the confidence being shed on these tickers, get in that chat. Please let us know. That segment is brought to you by our lovely sponsors there at Real Trading. So please check out that segment. Yes, on, bounce on. Yay, on. How are you doing?
Love it. I'm in 2 trades right now. One in Apple, trying to take a 221 dip to defend that previous area of support. Let's see if it acts as, resistance. Let's see if it acts as support. So that's the first one. The other one, I'm just cruising for a bruising on this HUYA. I'm going to go 0 for 3 on it. Well, 0 for 2. I did add twice, though, initially. I'm trying to take a VWAP dip on HUYA. There's nothing holding this thing up, man. If we drop one more penny, that's going to be the end of that, and we'll lose another 6 pennies on this one. HUYA. No support for this monster. It just makes a big move through 5. And I guess maybe the support level is 5, because it's certainly not VWAP, because it's breaking through there. So not a good look right now. I'm going to pack my patience with this Apple trade. I didn't get the best price. I tried to get into the single digits on the dead one. 221 single digits. It wouldn't let me in. It was quite volatile at that level. So I'm not really happy with my entry, but we're already in it. So looking for the first peak weather in and around 40s. We'll see if it can work its way up into another higher high. It wasn't able to print another higher high above here. So this is a little concerning for me, the fact that this is a lower high relative to the high of the day, because, well, if we reject off here, it could be a bit of a deeper rejection. So we'll see what we get. We won't get upset. I'm looking to wet my beak around the mid-30s. Okay, Huya's back. We're break even on this one again, but it's definitely not doing anything of substance. in the sense that it's not printing me or anything, but we are back from that 504, almost stopped out, back 511. I could flatten out here for break even, but what's the sense in that, right? Well, I'd rather get stopped out and give this an opportunity to print. All right, back to Apple over here. We got into the high 20s, still nothing really doing, so packing my patience there. Let's bring in the side chart and talk about some of these small cap gappers du jour. As you'll notice, obviously, some of them are not small cap gappers. Yes, Starbucks, Dell, on. I'm talking to you. You do not belong on this chart, but you're moving nice, so we're going to put you on today. Yeah, they're all.
Put them on.
Oh, I like it, Adara. Yeah, of course. Well, that was a little on the nose. I should have been.
It was very on the nose.
Oh.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing this all day.
S-Bucks looks fantastic up here, a bit consolidative though since that 930 print, a little zig, a little zag. Dell breaking a 10 exponential now. Let's see if Dell finds some support around 100. I'll be all eyes on that. And on, we've seen Adara printing up on that. 42 seems to be a bit of a tough level from which to break, so we'll keep eyes on those. But there goes CXAI, baby. New high a day as it blows through 304 HOD, now up 104%, zigging and zagging with 3, a little above, a little below. We're going to keep eyes on that one. We're going to have to put some respect on this one's name by putting it on a trading screen. It's still not on said trading screen. Go, dead one. Let's see if we can print up. Of course, I yelled its name and it retraced it there. That's just kind of how it goes. All right, so still waiting at HUY here. HUYA, sorry, we're at 511. I'm waiting for this one to do something for me, but it's still not doing it yet. So packing my patience on all these trades. Oh, we have a super chat. Dang, son. I don't know how to say your name, but it sounds like, I don't know. What is that? M1N Kiat 3. 50. Jeez, Euro super chat. I'm dropping dollars, but if I had a Euros animation, I'd drop that too. Please, analysis on AAPL on the weekly. Thank you. You want to take that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're doing your thing with the mic. Okay, no worries. Yeah, we can take over for that. Let's have a look and bring in the trusty side chart over here on ADAP. Here's the weekly. Oh, that's a tough looking weekly, my man. You really want me to do this analysis? Well, you have a pandemic. What is this? Pandemic. This is 2016. Okay, so, you know, it's had good moments, but as you can see, the overall trend is down and to the right. So what does this company do? They're a clinical stage biopharma company focused on providing therapies to people with cancer, obviously very noble goal. But with these biotech companies, it's a bit of a hit and miss. So not much to say, sadly, other than it's a downtrend. You are at historical lows here, with the real lows coming November of last year when we got into that 30, 40 penny territory. You're above a buck. You're above a buck organically, might I add. No reverse split here. You're below the 200 moving average. Sometimes you're above the 50. Sometimes you're below it. There's really no discernible trend here on ADAP with respect to how it deals with the 50. This is a tough look, brother. I mean, I need to see higher highs and higher lows before I get excited, and you're still not seeing that. You're seeing some higher lows, but very, very few in the way of higher highs. Yeah, you know, I hope you print on this one, but it's a bit of a tougher look for now. So, yeah, ADAP, not a company that I have too much information on. They do have an earnings release, or they did have an earnings release yesterday before the market. How did they do? I don't have any. Oh, the call transcripts. Okay, they report results for the third quarter ended in June. Earnings summary. Let's see if that can load over here. I don't know how they did. Oh, let's see how they did. Revenue rose 2,400%. Wow. Okay, that's why you're asking about this. Interesting. Okay, so revenue rose 2,400% over here. EPS for the quarter was 24 cents. Doesn't say what the street was looking for. So a little unsure over here, brother. Let me know how it goes. But yeah, not much I can say other than just regurgitate the earnings report to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for going over that super chat, Sharif. Thank you very much for the super chat, Mini Cat 3. Also, thank you to 580 Ironworker for gifting a live Trading by Trader TV live membership. Thank you very much for that. I did actually add into on, but before we get back into that, I would love to thank our sponsors there, Benzinga Pro. Are you tired of being late to the trade? Are you always playing catch up in the market? Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. You can get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else, pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. Shout out to Benzinga Pro. Shout out to Ryan Faluna. I don't know why I added a B there. Shout out to Ryan Faluna there. But also speaking of Brian, actually, I want to shout out Brian Nickel. I'm going to look at CMG and Starbucks. So Brian Nickel, you may remember as the man who lives in my mind rent-free because of that really odd video that he did about portion sizing at Chipotle when people were like, hey, Brian, why are the portion sizes what they are? And he's like, well, if you want more, you just have to go to the person making your burrito and go, you know what I mean? So really just give them a... So, like, that man is very interesting. Now we'll have to see. Will this now be the strategy for Starbucks? If you want more espresso, just go... But no, all jokes aside, congrats to Brian. I'm sure he and his family are pleased as punch or pleased as like caramel macchiato with that move there. Definitely a good look there for him, especially being like scouted. Like the way Sharif put it, he's like, he got headhunted, which is true. And he got taken from, yanked out of Chipotle there. No burritos for him, so I'm sure he's getting some nice guacamole from that Starbucks look. I like Chipotle here. I want to see what we do at 50-25s because that was, to me, a pretty clear area of support here on that 10-minute chart. If we flip, you guys know I love support resistance flips. That's one of the first things that I learned here on this desk. It's something I find really helpful in my trading. On, every time I'm like, hey, are you going to break below 41.50 and I'll have to leave? On's like, no, I can bounce. I can bounce. I'm like, okay, thank you. I respect you for that. I did add to this around 65s. That was a while ago. That was, I think, the second or 2 or 3 times ago with this 41.50 bounce. We've bounced off of it quite a few times. I'm also not really seeing lower highs. I'm just seeing an odd little consolidation range between like 41.50 and 41.75. Like I said, I am not leaving on until we break below that 41.50 in terms of a stop loss. That's basically not even just because it's break even where I entered. It's just because this area was such a clear level of resistance and it's holding to be such a clear area of support. That being said, I will be de-risking half the position at just below 41.80s because this is an area, as Sharif said, on does not want 42s. And to be clear, I'm still confident in this trade. I want to make that very clear. I still like this at level, but I think I owe it to myself to take some profit if we're going to have a little bit, instead of a run right now, on's kind of jogging. It's a little bit, I don't even want to say it's speed walking because I think speed walking is a little bit brisker than this. It's kind of trotting in pace, a nice little gait here.
Know.
Well, I used to speed walk competitively a little bit, so I do. I don't know why I tossed the hair there.
I know. I was about to say. I was like, yeah, Dara, attitude.
A little bit much there. But yeah, ON. I like how we're bouncing off this 90 MA. We're bouncing off that 41.50 like beautifully on the book. So I have no reason to leave, but I do, in my opinion, have a little bit of reason to de-risk, especially because I've added into this position. So if we come back here, I'll get out. I'm still willing to add if we keep bouncing off 41.50, but I do want to have that position be a little bit smaller. What else is happening here? Starbies. So I mentioned, CMG. I mentioned Chipotle with regards to the Brian Nickel move, but I didn't mention Starbucks there. Starbucks coming head first there into VWAP. Starbucks might need a little bit of caffeine. If we come back off this 93 area and reject, I will take this short into VWAP. I might even save a piece for the dream. I don't think I'll have the opportunity to get back in here, but I like this look. Tesla also interesting, very rangy off the 1 minute here from 204.80 to 205.20. I have said I'm not really interested in trading Tesla until we get to that 205.40 because that was that level that was just beautiful in the book, and that was my impetus for getting involved in that long. So we'll see here. Yes, okay, didn't mean to clap there, sorry. Yes, on running into that 180 level. Other stocks I'm looking at right now include Intel, which I kind of liked as a short off 20s, but now it's bouncing. Palantir as well, around that 30, 50s. I don't dislike either, but right now, on Tesla and Starbucks, the main things I have levels on. But there is a super chat here that is, I don't know, it's happening.
I love it. I had to point it out to Neil. I think the chat loves it too. I'm going to read this. Dara, I'm going to read it with the vigor that it deserves for $5. We're going to read Big Kyle's next too as well. Day Trader Cut, thank you very much, Day Trader Cut, for the $5 super chat. Hey, Sharif, I'm trying to get my wife into swing trading, but she doesn't want to be a swinger. ... How can I get her into being a swinger? I want to know why I'm being asked this question. Like, where in my reputation do you think that I would know the answer to this?
You do swing trade. You swing trade.
Yes, I know, but there's a whole lot of innuendo in this.
Oh, there's so much innuendo. There's so much. It's literally bathed in innuendo.
I'm gonna have to clap that. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Clap that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That.
Clap for that.
Clap that.
Clap for that. But yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. Let's go on to Big Smile Burdette. $5 super chat as well. Give me, let me just read this real quick over here. Give me 2 pumps, Burrito Boy, building put positions into SPX, I should say, here and 540 on the SPY. Shout out to you, Big Smile. Let me know how that all goes. I think that's a good entry for you. And yeah, you definitely had some great trades the other day. So we're going to shout out to Big Smile Burdette. I'm still involved in this Apple trade. I've been waiting for either 221 to break to the downside or to bounce off. We're really whiffling and waffling here with really no discernible trend. I'm sorry for the wicks that came in there on AAPL. I'll fix that in a second. Let's go back into HUYA because it's the other trade I'm in. Also, absolutely dead flat on this one. Nothing doing here on either trade, nor out of the money, nor in the money on either. So packing my patience. Let's see what we get because I really don't have a whole lot to update you on because neither one is breaking. Here comes 221 again on Apple. It seems like there is a bit of a buyer at that level, but it feels like it's going to give way here because we're rejecting 18,976 and dropping a little bit. So here we break the whole dollar level on Apple. So I think my stop's at 97, so it looks like I will. Well, if we dip below 97, I will get stopped out. But as you can see, zigging and zagging at this 221 level on AAPL. Nothing doing on HUYA as well. I'm not looking at anything other than these 2 trades that I'm in. So if you want me to look at anything for you, throw it up in the chat. Right now we're seeing, let's look at the Mag 7 because we didn't analyze the Mag 7 for the chat today. So Tesla at the 20 or coming into the 20 exponential. It's been respecting the 10 the majority of the day. Same thing with Nvidia. Like Apple, it's at the 10 exponential right now and trying to hold around there, but it looks like it is breaking down and rejecting 115 on, at least for now, right now, is Nvidia. We'll see if it holds up at the 20 exponential, which is exactly what it did last time at around 1030 when it dipped. It holds exactly at the 20 exponential, excuse me, and puts it in a hammer candle followed by a good gnarly green candle there that pushed this one back up. So I did get stopped out of Apple there as it did dip below 220.97. So if this one reclaims 221, I'll get back into it. But for the moment, I'm going to have to steer clear of the dead one Apple because it's retracing, it looks like possibly into the volume weighted average price. So yeah, going to go, oh, no, did I have a good trade on Apple earlier? No, I'm 0-for-2 on Apple today. So we're going to look to exact revenge on this one, hopefully as the day goes on, Adair.
Yeah, I have to talk about what truly has to be one of the most mind-boggling trades I have made in quite some time. I feel like I went back to kindergarten with this trade from a trading standpoint. To be clear, I like the short here I have now in Tesla, but my Tesla long at 205.40 deserves some discussion. So you might be like, Adara, why was that a choice? Can you please explain this choice? Why did you do that? Well, I did that because, quite honestly, I said I loved that level we had there in Tesla as the 205.40. I loved it on the book. I said if we reclaim that, I want it long. We reclaim it beautifully. We come back, we hold it. I get in, and I honestly don't think I had prepared my risk well enough on this. I was like, oh, we'll see what we do here. Before I can even react, this thing quadruples under me. I'm like, are you kidding me? You spent so long breaking this level. You break above it beautifully, and now you just drop. So I'm not going to lie. I just kind of watched this thing like I was traumatized. It was, like I said, literally one of the most questionable decisions being made there. I'm not even going to lie about it. I ended up getting out around 205, so lost 40, 50 pennies on that Tesla long. Gross. But then I was like, Adara, you clearly should have been looking at the actual range on Tesla, which was not that 205.40. That maybe flipped from support to resistance, whatever. Ignore that. Look at the actual range bottom here, which is clearly that, in my opinion anyway, 204.70. So I said we break below 70, get short. I started a position at 204.69s, a smaller position. Then I noticed we're having a really hard time breaking below 204.50. So I said, Adara, you break below 204.50s, you add to this position here. Added to Tesla, and we broke below 204.50s. Got out about 40% of the position at 204.30s because that was, to me, was some clear support resistance flips. I want to see what we do here if we get back to 204.50s. Right now, though, I'm riding with this position, and I have to say, sometimes, you know, as 50 Cent and Kanye and others have said, go ahead, switch the style up. If they hate, let them hate. Watch the money pile up. To be clear, I would not say money is piling up in Tesla, and I am deeply disgusted by the trading I did in that long. I literally do not know what that was about. I was very disappointed. Tesla pointed on myself. But you know what? When you're Tesla pointed, you have to think, why didn't that work? Just go harder. Why didn't it work? It's because I didn't really have a plan. I liked the level, and I went into that level, eyes closed, clear hearts, whatever. Shout out to Friday Night Lights. But instead, I was a deer staring in the headlights. In that trade, so then I had to get back in, or I didn't have to. I chose to get back in the short. Happy with how this is going. On. Please just punch. I don't know what that face was. I did get out half the position there and on. As I was having a mental breakdown in Tesla, on was like, I'll help you. I'll alleviate some of your stress. We broke above 42. I still have half this position in. I ended up getting out halves there at 41.78. Like I said, I wanted to alleviate some of the stress here. If it got back to 41.80s and bounce, I will add. If we break below 41.75s, I'm outie. And that's just because of levels I like as support and resistance. We're back at 204.50s on Tesla, so I'm going to have to assess what we do here because that was a level, like I said, I found kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll add necessarily to Tesla right now, but I like that we're in this downtrend. I think if we break below 204.30s decisively, like we broke into it, which is how I got that out there. But if we break below 204.30s decisively, I want to see what we do here. I am willing to add if we break back below that resistance level. And again, to clarify, this Tesla trade is less of a scalp and more of a looking for key areas of support and resistance that I'm seeing on the book and playing around those. So I've got Tesla, I've got on. I am pretty happy. If there's a dollar made for every pun, then ellipses, says Bonxilla. I would love to have a dollar made for every pun, but right now I'm just punning for fun, and we're hopefully going to get those dollars made. But like I said, I'm trying to trade less P&L and more the process and the learning. And I would say this Tesla trade, although it started as a bit of a messla, right now I feel pretty blessed, Get in that chat also if there's any stocks you're looking at that you want to pun about that you've made dollars or cents on. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Please let us know. What is other people looking at here? Can't stop the Nvidia train, apparently. Let's take a look at NVDA here. Let's see how this is going. Tom Shepard wants me to say hi to him. Hi, Tom. How are you doing? So let's see what's happening there. Now we're kind of seeing a bit of a bounce here in Tesla. I'm going to have to get out of this Tesla for now, but I will be willing to re-enter should things get spicy here again. Wow, Nvidia, nice look. I think if we break above that 114.80s, that's going to be a really beautiful look on NVDA. I am out of Tesla for the time being, but if we break back below the 50s and 30s area, I'll get back in. Go on. We're at 42.24s now, so we're doing pretty nicely here in that on.
Nice.
Please just punch. Wish I had a few more shares, but you're always going to be upset as a trader.
Oh, yeah. Took Apple again, did a little bit better on it this time. I was able to take about 20 pennies or so. Not the greatest trade. It's very consolidative at this 221 level. The reason I got back in is because I saw bottoming tail kind of like not inverse, but kind of a candle of indecision. It was this candle here. Now, like the subsequent one is also a candle of indecision. Guys, chart. Where respect to this one over here into 220. So I'll keep an eye to see if we can start curling up a little bit over here, but was able to de-risk a little bit. I'm just going to hold on to the rest of the position. HUYA was able to move up into 14s off the 11s that we're in. It's printing 13s right now. But this, I'm still waiting at like 20s, but it's not really moving up. It's holding VWAP, but not doing a whole lot. So I feel like I've chosen the ones that are not moving right now. So anyway, profitable on this one, not profitable yet on Apple, still red on this one, but just got out of a little bit of trouble with this last trade. Sorry, I can't seem to fix the wick on this because the wick has disappeared on the screen. So I can no longer even locate the wick to fix the distortion. So I'm sorry, we're gonna have to trade with this distorted chart for now on Apple, but maybe we'll be out of the trade and we won't need to be looking at it. Thank you very much, Kyle Burdett, for the $5 super chat. It looks like your message was deleted there, so can't read it out. Ahmad, thank you very much for the $17.99 AED. BA, Adara, BA. He's yelling at you. He's telling you to look at Boeing. Let's have a look at Boeing right now, and then we'll throw it to Adara because she's trading at the moment. So let's look at BA over here and see what this one is up to. I saw Neil talking about this one this morning. Oh, BA is having itself a decent day right now. So let's load it up on the side chart. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to show me percentage up 1.88%. A couple of candles of indecision at around 167.50. Let's zoom out and see if this 167.50 is an important level. Some interactions with it here back on the 9th. Not a whole lot. I'd say, you know, maybe look for resistance around 169. There does seem to be some resistance in and around there. But yeah, your guess is good as mine at the moment. Good day for Boeing, though. We'll have to see if they can continue to do a little bit better. Apple coming into that 20 penny area where I wet my beak last time. We're long 03s. I'm just going to hold this and see if we can curl at least into that area crest at around 50. But Apple seems quite indecisive or undecisive at the moment. Thank you very much for that, Neil. Neil letting me know what the deal is with Boeing. Boeing delivered 218 airplanes year to date through to July, including 166 MAXs. The report includes 43 commercial jet deliveries in July, which is not bad because we know that they usually produce about 38 per month, so 43 would be a bit above average, matching last year's numbers with that 43 delivery. They also delivered 31 737 MAXs, 228 gross aircraft orders through July. So hopefully things pick up for that company. I can't say that I want to see them fail. Again, it's a company that I really kind of grew up with and have a lot of fond feelings for, with my uncle obviously being a pilot for Egypt Air and always telling me about that kind of stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he would always go to Seattle every year, Adair, to learn on the new equipment, depending on where the airline moved him. If he was flying the 747, or back then, I believe it was, 737s back then, but just obviously a different model. Anyway, keeping my eye on AAPL over here to see if we can hold 221, and keep my eye on HUYA. I'm going to give HUYA another few minutes. If it breaks this 506 level, which is actually a little bit above where I have my stop, I'm going to get out. But it's lulling me to sleep. And the thing is, I mean, even though it's lulling me to sleep, that's not a reason to get out of the trade. What is a reason to get out of the trade is when the volume drops off, because that can create liquidity issues. And so sometimes they're hand in hand. When it lulls you to sleep, usually it is dropping off a little bit in volume. So I'm going to keep my patience with this one until it hits that level, and then I'm going to be gone. Zeno, we are very close to 19,000 on the day. Oh, baby, we're reclaiming 19,000. I was just telling Brendo this morning, I thought it was so interesting because we were almost at 22,000 on the future. And now the way we dropped from almost 21,000 plus into that 17 low, it feels like it's taking forever just to get back to 19,000 from the depths of, you know, wherever we were.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so 18,986, so very close right now to that 1,000 point level, Adair.
Ooh, yeah, things get a little spicy here. I'm still only an on. I said I would be kind of interested in that Tesla short if we kept breaking there below that 204.70 is. Given that Tesla is now back above 205, obviously that is a moot point. I added into on though. So I added here at 42s. I know I said I was interested in adding at 41.80s if I added. The reason I added at 42s, though, is because at the time we were bouncing beautifully. 41.80s, 41.75s, that area is still going to be where I have to leave if we break below that. That being said, right now we're getting a little bit weaker here at 42s. I don't love these topping tail candles, but when we get above 42s, we do get those nice wicks up. So I do have an order ready here to get out of 40% of this current position if we do have that nice little wick up here into 42s on the sneakered one. So let's see if we can get these sneakers running there to the upside. Palantir, I've had on my side chart since last week. I've realized that Palantir is one of those ones that kind of generally, I would say almost every day is going to give you some kind of something. We had a lot around Palantir with that 30 break. As Neil said, that was a wild look. Palantir right now breaking below or trying to break below VWAP in a way that I actually find really spicy here. So if we break below VWAP on Palantir, I'd be really intrigued and I would risk it into 30.50s. I want to wait to see what we do here, though. Intel, really happy I didn't go short below 20s because now Intel is back above 2010. I mean, to be clear, only like a 10-cent move, but for Intel, if you take that with size, that can get you a little bit chip-chopped there. So Intel, great uptrend here on a day where is a little bit rocky for some stocks. Intel's like, what do you mean? I'm just going to keep pushing higher. So good look there for Intel. What else is happening here? We've got IWM, I liked IWM earlier today, but it has done a heck of a lot of nothing since the start of the midday, and I'll show you what I mean. If you look at a 5-minute chart, look at what IWM is doing, okay? This 206 area, we're above it. Cool. Nice job, IWM. Look at these. Come on, load. Look at these 5-minute candles. It looks a little bull flaggish to me, mind you. I like that we're bouncing off the 9 EMA, but it's just pretty flat in terms of like my trading purposes. I don't really have a nice look on this right now. On trying to break back above 42s, which would have me please just punch if it is able to do this. But also, if there's any stocks you're looking at that you want reads on, go into that chat and go exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever your ticker you're looking at, and let us know what you are looking at. So that way, we have stocks that the big kahunas, Sean and Neil themselves, can look at and tell you what their thoughts are if they traded it, how they would have traded it. Also, IWM, as I spoke of it, I guess got embarrassed and was like, I can move Adara, I can run. So IWM trying to push up a little bit here. If we get that bounce off 206.10s, any level I can kind of play on the book and the chart here, I'd be very tempted to take a long. Even 206.15, not actually a bad level for me here. So let's see what IWM has going on for it. I like that bull flag. I like that gorgeous support at 205.20. This is not like the entry point of anyone's dreams, but I'd be willing to take it here into 206.40s if this is, in fact, a bounce. And I'd probably take it with more size because this would be a bit more of a scalp. Let's go, EWM. I like you. I'll risk you into 206s. I'm trying to make minimum 30 cents here, so I think trying to get in here, risking 15 is something I can live with. I'm not in the stock yet, but let's see if the Russell would like me to rustle with it along to the upside. See poop says live trading by Trader TV Live. I guess a reference to when that ticker graced us with his presence due to Sharif calling
What is it up to, actually?
That. I wonder.
A good question.
We had Tempest. Remember Tempest? That one that was up 3,000%?
Oh, yeah.
One day. That was actually moving around a little bit today on no news. So that's a bit interesting.
Yeah, so C-Poop's been doing exactly as we described it since that time, Adara. I'm sorry to get graphic. 250 was the high of that day. Now we've been putting in lower lows and lower highs. Barely holding on to that dollar. Hold on to your hats, C-Poop. You might get an email from the exchange telling you get your act in order. All right, took 25 pennies there on Apple as it popped up. This was lulling me to sleep. So look, it's curling. It's curling, so I think that there's a potential upside to it, possibly at that $0.50, but I took it out at 25s, printing 24s right now. Decent trade, still red on Apple, though. There goes 30s. Now it's really moving, obviously. Now looking at HUYA, it's printing 14s, is putting in higher lows. I'm sitting here at 18s, waiting to get filled on this one. This one also a very slow mover. We are, again, very close to coming in to that 19,000 level on the NQ September contract, which has some of these bad boys moving up. I'm talking about Apple. Goggles also just got a bit of a pump there. Softy bouncing off the 10 exponential. Same with Meta. They both had quick touches at the 10 exponential and bounced off. If I could make an observation here, Amazon, very dead money today. Very zig, very zag. You had that IB high print right at the open. And since that time, we've been locked in to what feels like less than $1 range. It looks like 167.5, basically 2/3 to the downside. And then at most here, 168 1/3. So very tight range for the better part of the morning right now on AMZN. That isn't not the case with most of its counterparts. You see Meta directional, Softy directional, so is Apple, so is Nvidia and Tesla. The other one that I could kind of make the case for, which is a little more directional than Amazon, is Google. What's their event called again, Adara?
Made by Google.
Made by Google.
It's a very on the nose.
It is, which is even more pathetic that I forgot it, but that's all good there.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, but I'm saying it. Anyway, we're working into that 164. We initially touched 164, then came back into the volume weighted average price and bounced off there. When did it starts at noon or what's it?
Starts at, I was seeing 1 p.m.
Our time,
yeah, 1
right?
p.m. our time.
Good.
Live in 71 minutes. I'm on the website. Bless you to whomever yawned. Made by Google 2024 keynote.
Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. So, well, obviously at 1 o'clock, we'll be covering that for you. And I'm assuming Google is a little bit tighter on range, even though it's up 1% as a result of the market, I should say, really waiting to see if there's something special being released at that time. I was looking at some of the products this morning. Obviously, we're going to get a new watch, multiple different phones, the variations of the phones, foldable phones, new whatever they call those, their headsets, whatever. What do they call those? Google ear thing, the headsets, like the AirPods. Buds. Thank you, Katina, man. Yeah, the buds, the Pixel buds. So we'll see whether or not they get, like, we're still waiting for any AI related headset products. Like, I'd like to be able to talk to my AI through my headset. I'm just speaking for myself here. I don't really want to always have to go into my phone, type, dictate. So I'm waiting for anything related to these wearables. Dude, that was like a zillion years ago. I returned them. Well, here's the thing, Katina, man. You weren't here when I showed this story, so I'm going to say it right now. I went to a club with my friend who had the Meta glasses on. And I don't know if you know, Katina, man, but when they're recording, there's a light that comes on. He didn't cover the light as we were walking around the nightclub, and I felt like the absolute cringiest person in the history of cringy people. I told him he should have, no, they weren't sunglasses. They're clear. Yeah, they're clear. I told him he should have covered those lights, because I don't want to be, you know, like, anyway. Well, it wasn't me, Katina, man. Yeah. Don't hang with him. Yeah, I'm just going to drop my friends, Neil. Forget about my friends. Let me just drop my friends. Anyway, 50, Neil, come on. They're my friends, man. 508, we're dipping down on HUYA, guys. This doesn't look like it's going to bounce off VWAP, so I'm going to move up my stop into 505. Drops there. I'm gone to there.
Yeah, I mentioned that I liked Palantir and the VWAP breakdown. This is the entry point I don't love. I got involved at 3040s, risking into 3045s. I don't want to add until I get a little piece of this out. So we'll see. We're kind of dancing here. We're waving at 3045s, but every time we get there, so far we've been selling off. I'll be taking out a third of the position if we get to 3031s, because that was that previous area of support there. I would like more here. I have a decently sized position, but I do want a little bit more for Palantir, just given the way it moves. Doing a heck of a lot of nothing right now. As Sharif said, sometimes, you know, when stocks lull you to sleep, it's not a reason to leave, but it's a reason to kind of reassess. To be fair, we do have higher lows in the book. We've not gotten anywhere near my danger zone area of like 4180, so I'm cool chilling in this for the time being here. Also, you know how I was like, oh, I like IWM there as we were like maybe having a bull flag breakout? IWM did not let me get filled. I should have gotten filled the second I mentioned it. If we come back to the top of this little resistance area, what is this? Like, we're basically there now, 206 20s and bounce. I'd vaguely tempt it, but I'm already in 2 trades, so I don't really want to get involved in the third till I get out of one of them. As on gets to that 4180s area, I might be leaving on. So if that goes off, that might be the time to get involved in IWM. There are times when I'm comfortable managing 3 trades, but right now I'm not like in a super comfy position with any of my current 2 positions, so I don't really want to add a third member to this party right now. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, Mr. Russell, you're gonna have to stand at the door. I'll let you in when the club clears out a little bit right now, a little bit packed in this club. Not a dollar club, mind you, but just a club of trading. Right now, shout out to the Dollar Trade Club. I'm not in there now. Hopefully, you know, no hopium, but if there's some trades that work out here, we'll have to see what happens here. On, it could have been you, but alas, it was not meant to be. What else is happening here? Anyone shorting S-Bucks at 93, says Eric Barkhurst. I love that 93 level actually is a Starbucks short. Sean is short 94.50 on Starbucks, so he's tipping on some of that profit there. I don't know if I mentioned this in a while. I briefly mentioned liking that 93 short on Starbucks, and that's because A, we're below the 90 MA. B, it was, to me, a pretty decent area of support earlier, so I like those support resistance flip. That's always going to be a level that piques my interest. And I do also like these topping tail candles. That being said, sometimes when you have these topping tail candles in tandem with that clear support and we push higher into that previous area of resistance, in this case, it's going to be Confluence, shout out to Obi, with both the 90 MA and that support. I actually think this could be a long here. So I would, not that I would take, mind you, but I think the way we're shaping, I've seen this pattern before, and sometimes it looks like it should be short and it fakes you out. So I would wait to see us break above 93 and fail it before I got involved if I was looking for a 93 short on SPUX here. On, I'm so proud of you, pushing higher back into 42s. I would love to see this go a little bit higher here. I actually, you know what? I was waiting for like 42.20s, but I honestly think at this point with on, beggars cannot be choosers. Not that I'm a beggar. I still like this position, but I think that I don't know how realistic my beautiful breakout theory I had is anymore. So I'm going to be getting out 40% here if we get to 41.99s. I'm not going to add any more to this position unless things really change. Palantir, near my first peak quarter here at 30. That was rinsed. That was the wrong button. Peak-winner at 30.32, so nice look. Tesla coming back into my area too. Sharif, isn't it so fun when there's like so many stocks you don't know which one to look at?
Yeah, I
Wild
guess.
times.
All right, let's look at HUYA, which is the one I'm still in, still break even there. Just got into Nvidia as it dipped into this area over here. I want to see if it holds up at this 114.20. It had issues with this 114.20 earlier. I know it's coming off a little bit of its top at the moment, but I did like this level over here, and it's been strong on the day. So we'll give it the old community college try, see if we can weasel a couple of trades out of this bad boy. I was looking at defending initially that 114 area. It did a 20 exponential breach and then came right back on top into that area. So I was like, okay, we'll give this one the try here because it didn't come into that 114 level. So packing my patience. Seems like there's a bit of a seller right now at this level. So we'll look to take out some here. All right, here it goes. Here's at 40. Let's see if it can work its way up possibly into 60. 40, there it is. Let's just pack our patience a little bit more. Let's look at HUYA. It's doing absolutely nothing. I just think I should flatten out here. Flat on the trade because it feels like the bottom could drop off at any time here. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And if I end up missing a trade, I end up missing a trade. That's fine. I get out flat 511. But the worry about this one is this one doesn't act like a regular name. The bottom could drop off at any time as someone could liquidate a large position and literally take out every single level on that level too. So if that's the case, I don't want to be there for that. So my line in the sand with NVDA is going to be that generally 114.20 something. It's this area that I'm looking to defend. If that area doesn't hold, then my trade is no longer accurate. Here comes 19,000 on the future. We're about 6 points away from that level. 18,994. Great day right now for the NQ September contract. Here goes 995. This thing's really moving. And there goes Nvidia to the high side. We get into that $0.50. I'm taking it on Nvidia. There was a seller at 40. He just got taken out. 997's now on the future. Future's pamping up here. Good look right now. Let's wet our beak on a little bit more here on Nvidia if we can work our way possibly into the $0.50, 997.5. The future keeps printing higher highs, and it's really, who is it that's pushing up the future right now? It's Meta. Meta's the one that's looking into high a day. Meta and Apple are very much near the high a day right now. Everything else is not really on the future. So keeping an eye, knowing full well that 19,000 could bring the future down. So I'm a little concerned possibly being at this level and in the Nvidia trade. That's why I wet my beak there at that level. But I'm looking for a 50 penny touch. We're still holding at the 20 exponential, but my line in the sand is going to be this 114.20 as an area defend. If it breaks 114.20, that's where I'm gonzo. But I'd like to see it break through 19,000, knowing full well that possibly an initial rejection could come off that level. So trying to account for whatever the situation here is, Adair.
Yeah, so right now, actually, I'm very happy to say we did get that fill in at 30.31s and Palantir added at 30.38. We got into 40s, then we came back to drop a little bit here. If we get to 30.31s, I'm going to take some out here again and continue to add. It's going to be a rinse and repeat. A few more shares here in this Palantir. We're almost at the position size that I had yesterday in Intel, which, as I said, the Intel trade I had yesterday, that was up in terms of the size, the largest position I've had since going live. Okay, Palantir, let's go. I've been watching the book for my levels of entry. If we get to 36s here, I'm going to add a little. You know what? We're actually going to add a little bit more here if we get to 36s. No, we'll do 36, 38. We'll spread out the love here. If we get above 40s, I'll get out. But I'm really happy. Sometimes you have to have that confidence, whatever you want to call it, or confidere. Shout out to Darwin for that. You have to be willing to get involved and add. Someone in the chat was saying that Palantir, they didn't see Palantir as a short here, and I want to explain why I like Palantir as a short. I waited until we got to VWAP. I also really like that 30.50 area. As I sat down here for the midday, I was like, oh, I like this 30.50. We had that wick down, and I was going to get filled, and it was like, dare I get coffee first? Then it jumps a cool 30 pennies. So that long at 30.50 was a great level. So when we started breaking below it, that's when I started looking for a short because we gave up that level that was really clear support earlier, right? So we break lower decisively below VWAP. That's why I started to have this position because basically since we properly began the midday here, since that candle at 11.05, in my opinion, we've been in a downtrend. I want to clarify that was the thesis for Palantir. And even though I know it's very strong, there's a lot of buying interest. That's why I was comfortable entering. I don't know if we're going to get any of these high 30s entries, so we're going to wait here. Also, I am off of on for now, and I'm happy about it. Like I said, instead of waiting to get out 40% here of the position at 42.20s. I got out 40% at 42s because we took so long to break above 42s, but I said, Adara, you have no reason to leave. Breathe, pack that patience. I want to shout out to Sharif for giving me a lot of packing patience lessons. And you also just said as well, there's no reason to leave a trade if it's boring.
No.
That's not a reason to leave. So I said, Adara, breathe, stay calm, and just get out some earlier if you want. So I got out some earlier at 42s. Then I was like, you know, we're above 42s, but there's been some clear resistance at 42.25. So just get the rest out at 42.24s. Breathe easily and be able to look at some other opportunities. Got out on about $1 above where I entered the position. Though it wasn't a dollar club because I was averaging in and out, but I'm really proud of this chart, how it looks. Please just punch about that. I may tweet about it on my Twitter account. Tradertv.live Adara, shameless self-plug there. I do have a trade Twitter, so good times there. Palantir, I want to add to you, but I have no reason to add to you at our current levels. I'm willing to be clear, I'm willing to average down. I already did, but I don't want to average down at a place that doesn't make any sense. You know what? I don't mind 30s. 30s I did like when we broke below that 30, so I'm willing to add a little bit here if we get to 30s. I think Palantir will continue pressing lower. Happy with what happened here. Happy with how this trade went. It's lunchtime, says Chill Vibes with a smiley face. Yeah, hopefully you're munching on these profits here with us. Nvidia is an interesting look here, I think, as well. I know you were involved in that, so I'm not going to have any comments here. I'm also happy I waited on that IWM
Why
long.
not?
Pardon?
Why not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I want to hear what your
I printed on it both ways.
Oh, nice.
So it's like
it's long and the short. Well, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I was like, I wanted to wait to hear you speak
talk
on
about it, girl.
But yeah, I like this look. Nvidia is so interesting to me here because we have higher highs and higher lows, but we have a roundy top. So I want to shout you out for printing both ways because it's been a short and a long here. Shout out to Sharif. I'm going to let you talk about this now because I'm so excited to hear about that. And shout out to you. You don't have to say hope you print because I know you printed. But also we've got IWM here around that 206.20s. Dripped a little bit lower, came right back. Still looking at that as a potential long, but right now waiting for Palantir to drip a little bit lower, about 20 pennies in the money on P to the L to the T to the R. I want to hear about your Nvidia though.
Yeah, so Nvidia I was initially looking short because it's doing the rounded top. Then it came into that 20 exponential. I was able to scalp off it super quick. Stopped out for the rest. Bounced into 114, scalped about 20 pennies. Down, stopped out for the rest. So it's been an interesting look initially on NVDA. It does seem like it's coming down. It's right now, if it breaks below the 114 area, I don't have levels on it until the volume weighted average price at around 133.50. There is this also price action support there, which could justify that dip into the $0.50. There is this area that we dipped into, consolidated, and then we made the new high of day right in front of that 115. And exactly 115 is the high of the day. So we'll keep looking on Nvidia here. I was very short bias on it first, and I said to myself, Sharif, you're a trend trader. Don't take it short when it's up. Well, at the time it was like 4 3/4. Now it's down to about 4.5. I think that would have been the right thing to do on it. Definitely take it short, especially that roundy top. I'm keeping my eye on that. Apple's also back at 221. For whatever reason, 221 has been an interesting, going on here. Yeah, 221. I'm sorry, guys. My chart is distorted. Let's bring in the side chart over here. 221 has been an interesting level on Apple. You really haven't been able to break below 221. And when we did break below 221, it was a bottoming tail candle, and we made a higher high. So for whatever reason, we're getting these incrementally higher lows and higher highs on Apple. It's dipping below 221 again. Here we go. I'll possibly be looking if 221 gives up the ghost at the volume weighted average price of around 200 2/3, 200 3/4. But I definitely want to let this one resolve because if you gave it last time, if you let it resolve, excuse me, at 221 and then carried it, you got about 60 pennies there. I was able to take about 25 pennies. Definitely didn't get that 60 penny pop from the bottom to the top, but ooh, all right. But I'm gonna wait to see what 221 does at this level. It's about noon hour right now, so I was looking for a possible 19,000 break, but you know, the volume does typically drop off at around these times. So packing my patience, looking to see what Apple does at 221. I don't have to be quick into the trade. I've got my levels on it. Everything else, really, I have mixed feelings about. The other one that I'm possibly looking at here, I've traded Nvidia and I've traded Apple. The other one that I'm looking at is Meta. Meta is also quite directional, and if you were if you were wise enough, I guess, to take something off the 10 exponential here, it really gave you multiple opportunities. Initially, it was definitely bouncing off the 20 exponential with all the closing prints north of that level. Then the aggression to the high side came in a little bit more at around that 11 o'clock time slot, and then we never really looked at the 20 exponential until that time. So you can see this hammer candle right now just dipped into the 20 exponential or to the 10 exponential, excuse me, and then bounced right back possibly into that 526 and a third again. So good movement here. That was just like 60 pennies that you got right there if you were able to get filled at the half dollar, because it's right above the whole dollar. So Meta, you know, obviously a $500 name, you're going to have to give this one a little bit of room, but not a bad look. Nvidia still doing the dance with 114, and Apple still doing the dance with 221. Neither has given up. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Again, knowing full well that 19,000 is possibly around the corner, and we could get an area rejection. We don't have to reject at 19,000. There's no requirement. I'm just saying, you know, the chances are that we at least, you know, bounce off it initially. If that's the case, then we retrace on some of the Mag 7, and so I'll be looking to somehow take advantage of that. But it is now time for Neil's lesson of the day.
Got another lesson of the day here for you, and inspired by a question we got this morning. And the question in the early chat, at least one of the questions that we got was, what do you mean when you say a liquidity grab? And so I was thinking about it. I gave an answer to the question and didn't really talk about it enough in trading terms or how it might apply to a trade. And then I also didn't differentiate between that and what you might just call running stops. So first things first, I think we're all pretty comfortable with the notion of what it looks like to run a stop. Like that would be a situation where you break a level, just say an obvious even dollar, or maybe it's support and resistance, and you get just enough above the price to maybe trigger some obvious stop orders, have those be the fills that go off and maybe take the stock higher for a little bit or take it lower for a little bit, and then an immediate snap back. Like to me, that's when you get wicked in or out, when they just run stops. I'm gonna use an example here of what, to me, that looks like. So Chipotle, right at the open, it was right about here at $51. You can see it's doing a lot of movement on that Starbucks news. Then you get this little wick breaking 51, gets up to 51.30, and instantly flushes. So this is a situation where you definitely run some stops. Maybe anybody that was short got wicked out on that break. Maybe you trapped some quick breakout longs, but it's really just a quick wick and very different to me than a liquidity grab, because there's not a lot of time for anybody to be building into any breakout long position there on Chipotle. So yeah, you're going to get a quick wick, but when I think of something as liquidity grab, I want to look at sometimes a higher time frame, because you look at this bottom here, and this is a rather large volume candle relative to the time of day. You'll see everything taper off, and then you have the opening range doing steady volume. It goes to the downside. Then on this break of the low, down into 48, you get a huge volume candle, and you get that consolidated face on the other side. Now, to me, why this is a liquidity grab underneath that low is go to the higher time frame. And a lot of times liquidity grab, I'm thinking about when you break a level, do heavy volume underneath that level, even maybe consolidate underneath that level, then shoot to the upside. It's different from just wicking somebody out of a stop and then it immediately comes back in. It's trickier for a lot of day traders to try to capture, but when you look at this on a 15-minute, it's a bit easier to see. Huge move to the downside, bit of a recovery. Then look at this candle on the 15. The previous low at 48.5, you get a heavy wick into 48, immediate recovery, and then it's an explosive move to the upside. So that was a liquidity grab underneath 48.5 because it was doing volume underneath that level. There were plenty of time for it to break a low a day and people to start shorting underneath that low and building a position. So grabbing liquidity, running that stop, and someone's actually probably building along on the other side of it. It looks like it's making fresh lows. That's the trickiness of that whole be careful when you short at bottoms or go long off of tops, because it can do the consolidation underneath looking very good, but the snap back can be very violent. So that's a bit of a difference between a wick out that you saw at 9:30 on CMG, but when you pop to the 15-minute, the way that it broke that 48.5 was just distinctly different in terms of how long it took, in terms of how it looks on a higher time frame chart. And because I never want to leave, I don't want to have only one example of what that can look like. I wanted to pull up CrowdStrike because I thought about this one as well in yesterday's trade. So if you look at the trend in CrowdStrike, nice upward trend, consolidating. We said it's having trouble getting through 250. That's obviously true. 2 days ago, on Friday, well, 2 sessions ago, you had this 239 support level. So you can see it end off the week, pulling back in, bouncing off 239. Strong move on the week to try to close off highs, failed a bit of a breakout. So it was an upward trend that looks like it reversed. Couldn't get through that high, and it's making a reversal. Pull up that old 15-minute chart. It's not one little wick out. It breaks this at the open, doesn't turn till about 10 o'clock. But underneath that 239, that's the idea of a liquidity grab. Much more difficult in this particular case to catch because of how long it spent down there, how quickly it went up. But look what happens after that liquidity grab. Looks like a flat bottom break. Plenty of people would be short thinking it's going to fill in the gap. When it reclaims the level, back to support, pressure relieved, and then it goes to the upside. So a liquidity grab is more along the lines of a higher time frame reversal pattern. It's not, oh, stock broke $100, goes to 110 cents, and then flushes back in. No, this would be a case where it breaks 100, goes to 101, maybe tests 101.5, hangs out there for 25, 30 minutes, then slams back in and trends back underneath that 100 level. It's grabbing liquidity and allowing people to build positions on that next leg up or down, then pulling the reverse. Usually when you get one of those the right way, you're looking for a bigger move, even a trend move for a couple of days, if that happens to be the case. So that was a question we got this morning. I wanted to make sure that we differentiate between what I say a liquidity grab and on that little wick in, wick out, or running stops, there can be a big difference. And for me, when you put it up on the 15-minute, it's going to mean a different type of trade and a longer time frame trade than when you just see that wick on your 1 minute or 3 minutes. So hope that helps. Great example of it there on Chipotle underneath 48.5, and then a good one yesterday on CrowdStrike underneath 239 even. As always, good luck in your trading. We're here to learn every single day. There's your lesson of the day.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and awesome as always. We call that around these parts Neilage. Who's that in the chat again that called it Neilage?
It was someone named Richard, I think, in a super chat. It was a while ago, but shout out to Neilage there.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Neilage. I am in this Amazon trade. I was trying to get the VWAP bounce while the market broke 19,000. I'm 2 pennies out of the money at the moment on this one. We'll see if VWAP can hold. Here we go, right back into that 19,000. Technically on the day, 19,002 is a high of the day. We're not really giving up that level, nor are we clearing it. So we'll pack our patience on this one. 114 on Nvidia was just absolute money. That was a paper-handed trade on my part. Had the right idea, poor execution. This one's on its way back into that 2/3 of a dollar, blowing through that $0.50. So good strength there. Also, Apple, sorry, I know the chart is a little distorted. Absolutely still holding on that 221 level. So for whatever reason today, 114 and 221 are in play on Apple and Nvidia. See how we can take advantage of these. Apple doing a double bottom off that 221, but you're not really getting that mid or that early day propulsion during the midday. You're going to have to play these ranges. Nothing really breakout-esque right now happening on either of these bad boys. So keeping an eye on these two, Adair.
Yeah, we have maybe the most bullish engulfing candle I have ever seen here on Palantir. And you might be like, Adara, why are you still short? Well, because I have no reason to leave yet. I'm trying to follow plans more on non-scalps. And so for me, like I said with Palantir, if we get above that initially said 30.40, I moved it down to 30.80, which you can kind of see here, a little bit of support resistance flip here on the chart, but I also liked it on the book. That being said, I will be de-risking here about a fifth of the position if we get to 30.30s. 30.30s, I know that's like slightly below my average here, but it was a bit of a chop and turn area. I did add to this position as well. At the time, we were still below the area, so I stood by it. Believe me, I don't see this bullish engulfing candle and I'm like, yay, great times. But I don't want to leave because A, I'm seeing the S&P 500 stagnate a little bit at these levels. And B, like I said, I don't want to not follow my plan. My plan was to see what we do at 30.38s. We got to 30.37s and ran away like a scared baby deer all the way back to 30.31s. So with that in mind, I am going to honor my plan on Palantir. Shout out though to the person in the chat who said Palantir might not be a short. Clearly we had a great bounce there. Still very happy I tried the trade, to be very clear, to be very Palantir, because I still like the levels and I traded it the way I planned the trade. I was not prepared though for this beautiful bounce here off of that 30-20-ish area on PLTR. So what else is going on here? DJT, some people mentioning. So let's take a look at Donald John Pump or Donald John Dump, depending on the day. This morning it was certainly Donald John Dump. We did have that situation going on with the X interview with him and Mr. Musk. And, they're actually recovering nicely here. I don't want to say it's not really pumping, it's pumping off the lows, that's for sure. Whoa. Still down in the day, but great bounce here off that 23-20-ish area. Higher highs, higher lows, nice little VWAP consolidation and bounce. I do like this look here on the Trump one, that's for sure. Palantir getting into 30.38, so I'm going to have eyes on this. But I see you've got your goggles on Google.
Yes, I do. We're flat on it right now as we're zigging and zagging at that 60 penny level. I'm going to give this one to the break of 50. There was a buyer at 50. So if it breaches 50, which is a 10x, where the 50 exponential, funny enough, I'm just going to get out. I'm sorry for all my charts being distorted. I can't fix any of them. It's not showing me where the wick is that needs to be fixed. So we're going to have to trade with these distorted charts today. I do apologize about that, but looking for a move up into that around 80 area. Obviously, the local area crest on Google that we put in at around 5 to noon, about 11:55, is around that 164 area. So that's about $1 from where we are now. We'll see if we can get back up there. We're still zigging and zagging at 19,000. We haven't cleared 19,000. So this is kind of like an area of indecision on these markets. Sure, we're doing well on the Mag 7. All of them are in the green. But, we're not blowing through 19,000, so I don't know exactly what to do here to take these long positions. It looks like, we're definitely going to hold. I mean, here's the NQ September contract. Sure, we're not breaking through 19,000 with that vigor that we'd all like to see, but we're still holding the 10 exponential on the future. So not that I'm trying to base a trade off it, but it's showing you that it's not making any lower lows, right? In fact, they're all higher lows and higher highs. Here we go. Above 19,000 again. Let's see if we can work our way up. Beanie, $5 super chat. Beanie, I thought you tagged me a little bit earlier there. Sharif, could you please check out AILE? Sure, absolutely. That's very polite of you, and I will absolutely do that. Let's load up AILE. Let's bring in the side chart over here and give this one the analysis it deserves. Oh, we still have C poop on there, Dara.
Yes, he doesn't deserve that spot.
So.
I'm joking.
I know, it's all good. So this one is an obvious SPAC, previously a SPAC. We can discern that by looking at that price action that hugged $10 for, it looks like years here. It looks like the D-SPAC came somewhere around here. I mean, you have zigs and zags, but D-SPAC looked like it D-SPAC'd in spring of this year. Since that time, it looks as if we've been making lower lows and lower highs. We did defend 3 there the other day. This is the daily chart on it. That's why I'm just going through that. Let's look at the 5-minute now. So locally, it's been a bit of a sell. There was an aggressive sell yesterday in the open. Right at the open there, we sold all the way from 380 down into the lows of around 265. We were able to recover a little bit to close above $3. Today, we're above 3 and we're having trouble with 4. So interesting. It looks like there is a bit of a resistance. In fact, there certainly is resistance at this $4 area, because even on the IB pop right there, as the market opened, we rejected $4. All the closing prints today south of 4, but with multiple wicks through that level. What's operative here, I think, is lows. Is there Q2 loss. So these guys reported here it is. After the company reported better than expected loss, but better than good or bad earnings, better or thing, but obviously not base something. Now we are at 19,011, so we're clearing that 19,000 area. Google wouldn't know it though, because we're only about 6 pennies above where I got it.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's any like things that you guys were looking at,
Mike, guys, everybody's telling Mike.
say you're looking at Google, for example, here as we head into that meeting, and you're like, hey, what do Sean and Neil would have to say here? Well, you can make sure to subscribe, because you cannot be in the chat if you do not subscribe. And if you subscribe, you get to join this awesome community, which is great. And you also get to participate in this little segment here brought to you by Real Trading, where you can see what Sean, you can put your ticker in there. You can see what Sean and Neil might have done with that ticker, or if they did trade that ticker, what their thoughts are. All you have to do is go into the chat, ! Join, space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. But again, you cannot get into that chat unless you are a subscriber. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to be a part of this fabulous community. Also, I am still in Palantir. I'm happy I didn't panic sell here because, like I said, I wanted to see what we did here at that 30.38. We never got above 30.38s. We went into 30.37s. We could not get anywhere near 30.38s. I am pleased as punch. I'm not willing to add into this yet. I want us to see it continue to trickle a little bit lower. If I did add here, it'd be probably around this 30.29 level, but I have a decently sizable position as is. I just wanted to get a little bit out of that 30.30s to alleviate a little bit of the madness of what, again, has to be the most bullish engulfing candle I have ever seen. But I am proud of myself, because the Adara of yore, and I say yore even like 2 weeks ago, would have freaked out at that bullish engulfing candle. Instead, I was like, Adara, breathe. You have no reason to leave the trade yet. Your parameters for exiting this trade have not yet occurred. Take a breath in and just act accordingly. So happy with how I managed that. Let's see, though, like I said, I don't want to add into Palantir until we've cleared a little bit lower on this stock. That is for sure, because this 30.30 level, that was some resistance earlier, or resistance support flip earlier, which is why I got out some of the position there. Clearly trying to pick a direction here, so I don't want to get involved until I know what directions it's picked. Samuel Benjamin saying, please, is Nike. So let's take a look at NKE here. I was involved in on, and on basically at the area at which I got out at that 42.20. So happy with that exit point, because we really have not gotten more than 10 cents higher. Wow, Nike. Okay, on, I had fun with you, but I'm the new side chart that's going to be on. My side chart there is Nike, because look at that Nike 78.60 bounce. We get here, resistance, make a lower low, come right back up, whiffle, we waffle, we wick into it, and we push higher. Great look there for Nike. It's Nike's own Olympics over here. That one is trying to get a gold medal if you're long. Is that the pun of anyone's life? No, but I said it. So good look there for NKE. It's honestly even having a little bit of a gap up on the 3-minute chart here. So nice little bounce there for NKE. Wow, and after we push above here, bounce off 78, that whole dollar level, we have not had a red candle since. So great look there. Okay, as Palantir breaks lower, I am going to add a little bit here at 30s. So if we can get that, I'd be happy with that. IWM too, I mentioned, I kind of like that long above 206. Wow, I should have had better eyes on this. To be clear, happy with the trades I've taken, happy with where I've put my attention, but I totally missed this IWM bounce, because once we clear that 206.40 resistance area, we have not looked back since. I need to have better eyes in IWM, because there are usually some opportunities in that stock in one way or another. So keep an eye on that. CMG, I don't know if I want to short this right away, because I've had some run-ins with shorting these SSR stocks. Sometimes it works out. Other times it gets you a little bit chipped and chopped, particularly if those names are spreading Novo Nordisk. But I like what we're kind of doing here around 50, 70s. If this forms a support, because this was a bit of a spicy, pun intended, area for Chipotle earlier, I would like to see if we can clear higher. And I'd want to make more than a Brian Nickel on this trade. I'd want to make maybe closer to a quarter or higher. So I'm joking. Bad pun aside, let's see what we do here in CMG. Palantir, keep going, Palantir. I'm happy with you. How are you doing?
Good. So that 50 defend on Google ended up working out. We did well on this one. We took it all the way up to 80, so happy with that trade. I have top wick for now. We'll wait to see if Google can come back into 164 and reject. So I'd like to do that, obviously, before the Google event, which starts at 164 on the day, has been an obvious resistance level. So we'll see what Goggles does. But it's a bit more, look, I was saying Google was more directional than Amazon. I stand corrected now, because Amazon's a bit more directional, breaking through these local highs, still well below the IB high at 169.16. But Google is about $4, or sorry, about $1, I should say, excuse me, off its highs. So good look for both of them right now. You know, call me crazy, but I don't know, man. I've been looking short on Nvidia, and I don't know why. Yeah, I know, Ram, but there's this area over here. It's 164.60. It was an area of obvious resistance, and then we used it as support. Then we wiffle waffled. Now we're kind of consolidating at 114.60, and the future's putting in a bit of a topping tail. I don't want to take it short when it's doing this, but I can, and then I can basically give it a little bit of room over here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to take Nvidia short, 114. Let's go around there, and then we'll look to cover 114. Yeah, well, it should be around, not bad. All right, so where are we at here? So let's see. Well, there's a buyer at 44s for whatever reason. Not really sure what that was there. Let's just put some else. We got a bit of a topping tail, 19,013 or thereabouts. On the future, 19,026 is the high. Obviously, we're not really gonna, base it off one candle, but I'm taking this and I'm gonna give it to about mid 60s or so to see if we can get the short in and around here. I know this is a bit of a counter trend trade, but I'm just gonna give this a try. Let me just look at these candles to make sure that I'm placing my stop in the right area. Yeah, so I don't want another candle to make a new high. So if we make a new high above the previous 5-minute candle, that's where I'm gonna get out there. So that's the look. Let's look at some of these other Mag 7 names. So Tesla, okay, Tesla, you've been in love with 205 today, but what I see is you're starting to put in incrementally higher lows, not necessarily the aggression of the higher highs with that $0.50 acting as a resistance, 205 $0.50, but incrementally rounding here, maybe trying to weasel in to that 206, maybe that 206.59 high a day that it had previously put in. So interesting look on Tesla. It's not the most directional at the moment, but definitely showing you support at the 20 exponential and holding generally 205 area. Meta also has been very strong on the day. Who is the strongest? It's definitely Nvidia, up over 5%. Second place goes to Meta, 1.97. Third is TSLA, obviously. Sorry, Tesla's third, 3.94, and then Meta third at about 2%, and then about Apple or so in and around that area. So continue to watch these ones. Lower high right now on what's it called? Nvidia, and that's what I'm trying to take advantage of, but the future still very strong at these levels. I'm just going to send it to you for a sec while I set up for unless you're in a trade that's important.
Yeah, Palantir's just like chilling and doing his thing, so I don't mind talking there. I did add to Palantir. I'm waiting for my second ad. Like I said, being a little bit more aggressive with this.
Oh,
Palantir here, we did, okay, nice. We got both our additions here. So as we've kind of retested 20s, I've been adding back into this. Like I said, I'm okay with DCAing down because I like the position. And we're generally in the money right now. I think we might be slightly flat in it. But like I said, as long as we're still below those, I'm going to switch my areas here to kind of like 35s, 36s to kind of see what we do here. But we're going to be getting out some at 16s because, again, this is a decently sized position. We're going to take out a third of this position if we get back into 30, 16s. So basically what I've been doing is I've been kind of ranging it, but staying in the trade. So adding some as we get up, getting some out. This is by far, not by far, it's larger than the Intel position yesterday. This is the largest position I've had since going live. I'm managing it appropriately because the thing is when you have confidence and when you have confidence, you owe it to yourself to address that with size and to reflect that in the size of the trades that you are taking. I want to start with Sean for saying something to that effect earlier today. I really agree. One thing I want to work on is where I'm adding here because some of these Palantir ads could be a little bit more effectively placed. Some of these entries, I even said my initial entry here, I got involved initially at 30-40s. I arguably should have waited for 30-45s, but that's what aggressive journaling's for. That's what reflection is all about. Do I love this bullish engulfing candle? No, but or not this bullish engulfing, this bottoming tail candle. I do not, but to be clear, Palantir also already gave you, like I said, one of the most bullish engulfing candles I've ever seen. We engulfed 2.5 5-minute candles here, okay? And we still came right back down. So as long as we stay below that 90 MA and below that mid to high 30s area, I'm cool staying in this trade. Now, with regards to Tesla, I like that you mentioned Tesla there, Sharif, because I also have had lots of thoughts on the Cybertruck one. And you guys know what level I liked. It was that 205.40s. We're back above there now. But every time we get above there, this level's been really deceptive. I took initially a long off there, got profit out in 40% of the position, lost on the remaining 60%. But then I tried to go long that level again when it hit and immediately quit doing. So I find this Tesla at 40 204.40s to be kind of deceptive. It's not where I'd be entering a trade now. I would probably use it as support if it continues to hold. But what I'm trying to say here is on the book, and you can see it a bit on the chart as well, this Tesla 205.40 area, when it gives up, it gives you to 70. So I'm actually going to enter a short now here that we're decently below. It's going to be a smaller position. I'm taking it more on just practicing the trade. If we get above 45s nicely, I'll be getting out. It looks like Tesla's trying to push me out of that Cybertruck violently as we speak. But we'll see how that goes. The point is, if you have confidence, and if you have confidence, and if you've looked at a trade for long enough, you owe it to yourself to attempt, because you'll never learn if you don't try. But you know what? You also won't learn if you don't learn. So with that really messy transition out of the way, thank you very much to Sharif for giving us this lesson, which is going to be about earnings.
You use a lot of puns, but you don't use a lot of tautologies. That was
I think
the first tautology you've ever used.
I use very few tautologies because I think the puns are just already kind of overwhelming.
I like it. Well, the puns are where you're good, so do what you're good at. All right, guys, let's talk about some more earnings. We're talking about earnings all week. We talked about it last week. Today, what's up?
Oh.
Throw to her? Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So Palantir here. Sorry about that, guys. Palantir bouncing a little. Okay, nice. Go, go, go. Palantir, like I said, we keep getting these bullish engulfing candles. And I'm trying, operative word, trying not to get spooked out by them, because we have the bullish engulfing and then we come to have a bit of a lower high. Now, to be clear, I don't love where I've added necessarily into all of these positions, especially on the 10-minute. You are seeing a few bottoming wick candles. But like I said, I have no reason to leave till we get into those, like I said, 37, 36 area. I'm trying to move down my stop incrementally each time. So initially 30, 40s. Now we're doing the 30s, 36s. And as I speak, we come back down a little bit lower here in Palantir. You know what? Given the size I have, we're going to take out some more here if we get to 21s. But I am still saving my big, nice little beak wetter here if we get to 3016s. That's an area I know we can wick into. Now, Palantir could be having a bit of a rounding bottom and curling. I'll be aware of that, but I don't want to panic out of this trade. And you also don't want to panic about earnings. So we're going to help you trade these earnings a little bit better. Yes, Tesla. Okay, so I'm like 30 cents of the money in Tesla there. So I'm happy. You got to have that confidence. Got to have that confidence. I'm getting out of some of Tesla here. How are you doing, Sharif?
All right, good. I'm doing well on Nvidia, but I'm just letting that work. All right, guys, we're talking about earnings all week long. Today, we're going to specifically talk about earnings whispers and earnings leaks. So let's get right to it. So the financial world is absolutely a complex ecosystem where information is power. Understanding, though, the role of earnings whispers and leaks can provide us with valuable insights into these market dynamics. So let's get right to it and talk about what these earnings whispers are. What exactly are they? So earnings whispers are essentially unofficial estimates of a company's earnings per share, their revenue, and any other important metric that's circulated amongst those investors and analysts before the actual earnings release. These estimates typically originate from anonymous sources within the company or within the industry, and basically that in of itself is a little shiesty. The impact, though, whispers can significantly influence stock prices, especially when they diverge sharply from the official analyst estimates. So what you're doing is you're comparing them to the estimates given by analysts, or the consensus estimate, that is, and as well comparing them to the guide given by the company round of the first time around, the last earnings date. So for instance, company XYZ, where an unverified whisper of significant earnings beat led to pre-earnings rally, only to be followed up, obviously, by a sharp decline when the actual results fell short. And so that is what we're going to talk about right now. So there was a case back in 2018 when Facebook, as it was known at the time, reported their Q2 results. So what ended up happening was, before they reported, there was significant anticipation in regard to the company's financial performance. Analysts had good consensus estimates. They're predicting strong revenue growth, as well as user growth as well. However, there were whispers that were leaking essentially from company insiders that said earnings might not meet expectations, with some hints of potential issues with user growth and engagement. The information, while not official, started to circulate with traders and investors. And then when Facebook reported in the Q2 2018 earnings, the company basically showed lower than consensus estimate, and the market reacted quite sharply, plunging over 20% in one day and wiping out about $120 billion in market value. It was one of the largest single-day losses in the company's history there. Obviously, 2022 ended up being a bit worse, 2 times in 2022, might I add. Okay, so that was the issue, and that is kind of the headline that I was able to eke out there. You'll see Q2 of 2018. It was not a good time for Facebook, as it was known at the time. So how do you use these earnings whispers? Well, I personally treat them with a fair degree of skepticism. While whispers can offer potential trading opportunities, it's crucial to approach them with caution, and not all whispers are accurate by any means. And make sure you're cross-verifying that with the guidance, with the estimates. Are they diverging from what the consensus estimate is? Is it diverging from what the market felt it was, or what the guidance was by the company? And you also, if you're going to trade this, it goes without saying, you need to be implementing strict stop losses and position sizing that jives with this type of trade. But that's not the only thing. Let me just make sure that my Nvidia trade here. So I was able to wet my beak on some profits there, but Nvidia is coming up a little bit. I want to move my, actually, I'm going to cancel this particular stop. I need to change how much I get out. So I have to pause the lesson for a second. Just allow me. No, it's fine. Just allow me a second over here. So I'm going to change my out to 114. Let's go ahead and put this, and then we'll look to get everything out around there. So that stop is in place. Good. Let's let that one cook and see what it does. All right, let's get back to the lesson. So earnings leaks as well, very important. They're a little bit different than whispers. So earnings leak is a risky game, let me tell you. So what is it? An earnings leak occurs when confidential financial information is prematurely disclosed to individuals outside the company. There are plenty of legal consequences that could result from that. First one is insider trading, obviously. This is when individuals who trade on leaked information, which is non-public, you can face criminal charges if that was the case. Also, corporate liability is an issue here. The company that actually had the earnings leak could get in trouble, as even if they didn't intend to do it and there was one of their individuals, one of their employees, they could be found liable vis-a-vis the agency principle, okay? And there is a very well-known issue or case of this. It was by the individual Rajaratnam of the Galleon Group. Essentially, he was the founder of Galleon, a hedge fund that was one of the largest at the time. They were really known for their aggressive trading strategies. But in October of 2009, he was arrested and convicted later for insider trading. One of the key pieces of evidence against him was that he had received non-public inside information about several companies' quarterly financial results ahead of their earnings announcements. He obviously acted upon that in his favor. And one of the more notable issues or notable leaks that he was receiving was from his boy at Goldman Sachs. This was back in 2008. His buddy there was on the board of directors of Goldman, went by the name Rajat Gupta. And he was giving him information about the company's earnings announcements or ahead of the announcement, which was going to report a loss. The company, which was the contrary to the market expectations. Market at the time, the consensus was Goldman was going to beat on the top and bottom line. That didn't happen. He was given information about that, and he ended up getting charged. So what I'm assuming is happening a little bit differently now is that there's it's a lot easier to audit trades than it was in 2008. You're hearing a lot about the FBI using AI to kind of search the blockchain for different transactions that they perceive to be illegal, perhaps between organized crime. And so what I was reading was that kind of same AI crawler that's crawling the blockchain now, possibly we're going to be one of those methods that the FTC or Department of Justice uses to catch insider trading. We'll have to see how that ends up working out with the use of AI. And yeah, that was the individual right there. And this was back, as you can see, in 2012 when he got the conviction. But the actual insider inside trading date was during that great financial crisis in 2008. Yeah.
So I'm sure that he was not having that smile on his face when he was convicted.
He was not. I don't know. I don't know if where he's coming out of court but he's probably not a happy guy at the moment.
Maybe he's not. In retrospect, maybe he's not smiling in that photo. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
tough look for him. Yeah.
Be aware.
Yeah, be aware, exactly. The role of social media here is also really important. Amplification of these leaks, of these whispers, usually comes vis-a-vis social media, which they've accelerated the spread of this information, both accurate and inaccurate. So that's one thing we need to be aware of when we use social media posts to guide our trading. Also, sentiment analysis. Social media can be used for sentiment analysis. I mentioned this at the top of the show. I have a specific feature in my platform that crawls social media posts and gives me a sentiment score. Are people speaking poorly or favorably about a particular name on the day? And you can have multiple windows, the day window, the week window, the month, the year, whatever, and it gauges social media sentiment based upon that, which is interesting. But you're also getting a fair degree of regulatory scrutiny now about what's being posted on social media. I didn't include this in the case study, but what's his name? Keith Gill, the Catman or whatever, we're Roaring Kitty. He is interesting because it's a great case study. Now, I personally don't think he's doing anything wrong. Yeah, I said Keith Gill. I personally, that's just my opinion. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think he's expressing an opinion in the way that anybody else can express an opinion, but the regulator may have a different view based upon, his followings and his influence and whatever else. So regulatory scrutiny now really focusing on social media because it is the main way that this information is propagated, at least most of the time. So keep in mind that. Again, no real trading lessons today. Just thought I'd give you guys insight into some of the issues that we have to deal with earnings, and that is leaked earnings, which are also important.
Yeah, be aware of earnings leaks. Just always very cautious of this information. I will say, there's one thing I've realized as well, all of the slippery slopes around earnings as someone who does, on the market recap and giving you guys these earnings numbers, right? So it's definitely, it's intense. It's certainly something you want to be very careful about. Also, I want to shout out Sharif for all that research they're done for that lesson. Shout out to you. Thank you very much for delivering that. Palantir, I was out of Palantir here. I actually had, by the end there, the largest position I've ever had. I managed it appropriately. We got above those mid-30s. I got out. Now I'm actually looking for longs in Palantir because we got nicely above VWAP. If we bounce off 40s, I'm willing to get in. I'm risking to 35. Smaller position, much like what I did, because this initial position was not large. I built into it. Really happy with what I did here. Happy I tried it. Happy I followed my plan. Obviously, lost out at the end, but you don't learn unless you try things like that. And I never would have thought I would have attempted size like that. So happy with what I did here. But there's another thing I have an eye on. Right now, I'm only looking long. Unless, Tesla's nicely above that 206. Shout out to Sharif for calling that. The Tesla short that I was so excited about, I ended up getting out flat because I wasn't able to get out below 205s. I didn't like the slow creeping to the upside. Yes, that was the right decision there. But the SPY, you guys know I like these whole dollar breaks in the SPY. We broke above the SPY. If we come back to 204, to 5, this number, 540.01s, I will be taking a SPY position here and I'll get out at 90s. I saw what we were doing in the book up here. I know I'm getting involved at high of day, but I shorted SPY at high of day yesterday at SPY of day. I have no issue getting involved in a name high of day or low of day as long as A, I have levels, and B, I've watched the book extensively. In that case, I have both. I'm going to cancel my order on Palantir. I'm definitely not going to get filled here. We'll see what we do at 50s. I'm okay with buying a dip on Palantir. Really happy I tried the short because, again, you really are never going to learn unless you attempt, unless you take these big swings and you manage them appropriately. Coin and Tesla, my largest position says IK, so I bet you're pleased as punch with Tesla back above that 206. Right now, it's actually just below 206, but okay, SPY, I'm going to cancel that order because I'm not going to get filled here. Let's take a look at Coinbase because we did have, I mentioned, 2 smaller miners reporting day one earnings. We had TeraWulf yesterday, and we had Hut 8 this morning. Hut 8, weirdly, had a lot of volume on that one. I generally thought, wow, Coinbase. That one, I was talking about this one in the low 190s last week. That 195 VWAP pulled beautiful today. We have lower highs kind of too. Then we just have that beautiful bounce off VWAP and the 9 EMA to the upside. Great look. Shout out to you there. Breakouts on so many of these names. So guys, I don't have any positions on right now, and I don't have anything that I'm desperately trying to enter. That being said, I mentioned this earlier. I started to Eric Barkhurst. I'm sure you were pleased as punch up with that short there at Starbucks at 93. Now, Starbucks would still be a range at 93. I love range trades. I would have zero qualms about ranging it. However, we have that VWAP bounce. And like I said earlier, I'm always a bit curious when we have these names kind of run, when they're strong on the day and they run into a little bit of temporary resistance support flips. I would love to see Tesla Starbucks. Starbucks get above that 93 level. Tesla's well above 93. If we see Starbucks get above 93 and hold it, I would actually take it long, which I know is kind of a weird look. We have all these topping tail candles. I would be very patient here, but I think Starbucks could recover nicely. We had that move down below VWAP, below 92, and we recovered it just gorgeously. So I think Starbucks could be a play in either direction. You could certainly make money either direction there.
I just have to interrupt for
Please
a second.
do.
Amazon is doing something here. I'm not really sure. I don't have anything on it either, guys, but it just spiked up aggressively. I've been watching it for a few minutes. There was that 168.80, I know, but the aggression with which Amazon is moving up is quite interesting over here. Still nothing on my blotter to really justify this move up, but yeah, I mean, usually when it's something this solid and uninterrupted to the high side, there's something, but there doesn't have to be. Besides, it was rounding bottom, so there was the possibility that it could spike. I just didn't anticipate this spike. So high a day right now on Amazon as it spikes up aggressively through 169. Here comes the $0.50 on AMZN. Now it's up 1.56, and it's single-handedly pushed up the future on its own. Well, I mean, well, not on its own. Obviously, there's others that are moving as well. The real one that really isn't moving aggressively is Nvidia, and maybe I shouldn't have said that because I'm in the short now. Watch, I'll get stopped out. I'm only about 10 pennies out of the money. I'm only holding a little bit of it. I got wet my beak already a little bit on the downside, but we are moving higher on the future, and NVIDIA is a little stagnant here, but I don't want to overstay my welcome on NVDA as it could spike up anytime. So I've lowered my stop on this one for the out. Now, Amazon is still going here, guys. There we go. 1 2/3 now on Amazon. We could see 170 quite soon. I was looking to see what we did at the $0.50. It looks like we printed above the $0.50 at 53s. So let's see if this is. Actually, to be honest with you, I was initially looking at the 20 penny area. Why? Because that was the IB high. At 9:35, the high of the day was at around 169.15, 169.20, but we didn't even hold up around there. So I was like, all right, I'm not trying to take a mean reversion short over here and get wiped out as this thing moves up. So AMZN, awfully strong at these levels. Not sure what to account for it. Nothing on my blotter, my news blotter, that is, to account for this yet. And it could be nothing. It could just be regular midday price action. We're going to keep an eye on AMZN, but it's printing at high day. So is Meta, though. So great strength. And I didn't mean to
no, yeah, it's okay. Definitely
it was just moving, so I really wanted to mention it.
There's there's a little bit of social media attention on it, though, but nothing crazy on AMZN. Is there anything else you're looking at right now?
I'm still in the NVDA shorted there, and I apologize for the distorted charts over here, but I'm like, I can see the wick. Nice, so I can fix it. I'm still waiting at around 114. Look, I mean, we've been basing out with a top at around 114, 70, 60. Generally, that area, it's a lower high than the previous area top, which is exactly 115. So I've moved down my stop on this one to take advantage of, or not take advantage, or to account, for the move up on the market vis-a-vis Meta and Amazon. But this one, it seems a little bit weaker. I don't want to say that because, it's NVIDIA and it's the monster and it could absolutely blow the roof off. So we're going to pack our patience. This one breaches 70. That's going to be the end of my trade, but I was already able to de-risk off it on the downside at, I believe, 35. So we'll see if we can get some more to the downside. But right now, if I had to choose, I think it's probably gonna pop up. If it comes into my area, I'll debate getting out flat there.
Yeah, so I'm in 2 trades right now, and I'm actually, I thought that was eyeing a third, but no, I don't think I am. So I'm still eyeing Starbucks 93s, but I know I said I wasn't gonna get any shorts right now, and then I noticed Nike. So Nike, I was already kind of considering as a short at 78.60. Look how long we paused here. 78.60 was also not exactly at resistance, but a little bit near that resistance area here we had earlier, which I liked. If we get decisively above 78.80s here, which basically is the area we're at, I'll be getting out. But why I like that 78.80s area as rejections, because that's where we wicked into it and failed. Basically, I liked that we were kind of at that 90 MA, a little bit stagnant. I liked the look. I'm willing to attempt it. Palantir, I am about 5 pennies in the money now on a long. You got to flip the style up sometimes. If we get nicely above 50s, I'll add at 50s, much like I did with the last Palantir position. Nike also, I'm planning on adding in as we go here. But so Palantir, I'll be adding if we get to 50s. I'll be trying to probably take some pieces out as we get into 60s. I like the bottoming tail candles. Initially, I said I wanted to get in at 30, 40s and risk into 30, 35s because that was an area I liked. Obviously didn't get it at 30, 40, so I'll now be risking into 30, 40s. I still like that area as a level of support and resistance off of which to play. Today, I feel like I've been trying lately in my trading to broaden my horizons a little bit. And by that, I mean taking some different types of trades, trading names I don't always trade, trying to take a little bit more size in ways that make sense that I'm comfortable with. And I feel like, it's definitely been a bit of an exciting time because you don't want to necessarily trade the same ways every single time. We had someone yesterday in the chat asking like, how do you find stuff to trade? Does it make sense, like take the trades on the show? And it's like, you definitely want to be able, and I think one of the best parts of this community is people trade so many different types of names. And I think through trying and finding your one specific style, then you can branch out and use elements of that style in other ways. So I like to think that I use my scalping and range trading, or I'd like to think that anyway, for some of these other types of plays, because it's like if you see things on the book, if I see things that I know are levels, which is what I'd be looking for if I were to scalp it, then I know what to look for when I'm trying to get in and out, right? When I'm trying to add or subtract. So I think that's really key. As we get nicely above 80s here, I will be extracting myself from Nike. I'll be running out of that one. Happy I tried it. I liked it as a short for the time being. If we get back decisively below 60s, I will be getting in. Palantir, meanwhile, nicely above 50s here. We're going to be adding if we retest that 50 level just a little bit. What do I have here? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think I'll necessarily be able to add here just because we're like we kind of got near 55s, but to get back to 50s, I shall be adding. Nike touching the gaps is the incredible Mr. Lib. Yeah, that short I knew was going to be a little bit dicey, but I like to look at it, and I waited pretty patiently for it as well. I've been eyeing it for a while before I got in, so you have to try, you have to make attempts, and you have to try new things. That is the whole point. What else happening here? ARM124 says stacks. So hopefully you are making some stacks on ARM or whatever name you're trading. And whatever you guys are trading, make sure to get in that chat and let us know. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers are fancy, that's what matters. And also, in case you're like, hey, how do I join? How do I get involved? Get in that you have to, in order to get in the chat, you actually have to be a subscriber. So please hit that like, hit that subscribe. See us, wet our beaks, laugh, have a good time, have the confidence, have the mealage, whatever it is, every single day. ARM clearing 124 beautifully, bouncing off on a wick basis. Started to use stacks. Hopefully you are an ARM and you are making some stacks there. Well, 121 did something for ARM here. Look at that area. We pushed above it as resistance, higher low, boop. Come back to bounce at 120, 150s. Wow, and that was all she wrote there. Great look for A to the R to the M. Also, I did get added in Palantir there at 30.50s, so happy I got that wick into that one. Also, Google, just to remind you guys, we do have that made by Google, which I will be watching once that begins at 1 p.m. So we're going to have to see if this name pushes higher or is torn asunder, peach eye. But we're going to have to wait and find out there. I know I use that one a lot, but I really like it. That 163.60 area is kind of interesting here. We had some pushes into VWAP, pop higher, bounce. So I like that 136.60 in confluence with the VWAP. Let's see what's going on here. Palantir, after trying to push into 30.55s, now back at 30.50s. Some things I have eyes on here. Happy I got out a Nike short as I did as well because that one's pushing higher. What a fun day, I think, in these markets. It really does show, I think you have to, the only way you can learn is really if you try, if you get involved. And today is giving you so many opportunities to do that. That is for darn sure, Sharif.
Hey, yes, Sadara. Tesla's at an interesting level here. This is the area crest that we put in at 1045. So this is a kind of an important area for possible short. Let's have a look at TSLA. So this level over 206.75 RAM is the level that I'm looking at over here. And this takes us back to that 1045 top. We're blowing through it right now, but I'm going to look to see if we can make a new candle to make a new low. Not going to jump into this trade, obviously, any quicker than I previously would have. But TSLA, interesting look at these levels. I'm looking for a 170 touch here on AMZN, but there is possibly a big seller. There's about 300 lots or so at 90. Here it is, guys. Good look there for possible shorts, but let's see if we're able to eat through that size. All right, some of that size just dropped off there. We'll see if we can continue to move up. Looking for a possible 170 touch and drop there on AMZN. If it breaks 80s, I'm going to be out of this one. Just trying to take a quick scalp to see if we can get that continuity into that whole dollar level. There is also very interesting resistance right now on Apple at around 221 2/3. Generally, that area, look how long we've been kind of consolidating with this area top over here. It kind of coincides with pivot level 2s. That's how strong Apple is on the day. It's essentially 221.5, even though you're breaking above that at times, going into the 2/3. Most of the closing prints coming back into that $0.50. It looks like Amazon doesn't want to print above 90s yet. That seller trying to front run the size is taking everybody out at that level and pushing this one right back down. So it's pushing down into 82s right now. The future coming off a little bit of the highs. I was thinking we at least get a 197, or sorry, a 170 touch and reject on AMZ, and we'll pack our patience to see if we can get anything in and around there. But I'm very interested on this level on Tesla Adair.
Tesla's a nice look here. Palantir, I was just like, oh, what are you going to do? Bounces off 30.45s pretty nicely. So still in this long, wow, this Tesla is great, guys. Look, I have that 1 minute on my side chart in Tesla too. And the bottoming tails on that thing. This is a really interesting look here in T to the S, the L to the A. I'm still watching Google though, because Google, you guys know sometimes when maybe you don't, but when J-Pow speaks, sometimes during the midday in interviews, what I like to do is usually I find the second he starts talking, the market will pick a direction. It'll go in that direction violently. And when they ask him the next question, when he stops talking, it stops. I don't necessarily think that Google will do that. That being said, will I be scalping if there's opportunities to do so during this keynote? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Google, watch out. I will not be taking it with like massive size because it's Google. It's not necessarily going to be like a Tesla or anything you want to do with that size, but I do have eyes on that. Every time I'm like, hey, Starbucks, maybe along at 93, Starbucks is like, Adira, how many times have I showed you I'm a short? I'm like, okay, Starbucks, I understand. I respect you. I apologize. I still, again, don't dislike the idea of Starbucks as a range, but it's not like a super clean, Sharif used to call them Adira Panera range. I like a nice, clean range. I like a range that just works in a nice little way. This range a little bit more of like a sloppy Joe than a Panera bread here. We have that move back into like 92.20s. I would rather just be clean to like 92.50s, 93s. If that were the case, I would be a lot more comfy taking this long. In the meantime here, if Palantir breaks below 30.45s, I will decisively, I'm going to have to get out. I know I'm risking a little bit less, but I did add into the position. And I think if we can't hold this 30.45s, I don't want to risk it into 30.40s because that would be nicely there below the 90 MA. Not adding to this until I get any out. I have a position size that I like. And like I said, I'm okay trying to risk a little bit more if you feel good about the trade, if you like it. I love that short going into it. Obviously, ended up going against me with some of it, but I would have regretted not going in with size. That is the same with this Palantir, which is why I was willing to add into it. Right now, though, I have more than enough size, willing to take some pieces out. What else? Google next. Yeah, I think Renshu. I think we'll have to see what Google does. We're at that 164 level, so hold our level, bit of a top of the range. I'd love to see what happens here when we have that event. Does Amazon go higher, says the Piper? I mean, I hope for your and Sharif's sake that it does, because you guys are
on it, yeah.
Oh, shout out to Sharif there, printing on that Jeff Bezos.
It broke through 90, so there was a seller at 90 Adira, but it got broken through, so now we're looking for a 170 touch. We're moving right back into the high on the future. 19,067. Let's see if we can get that 170 touch on AMZN 1.87. I was disrespecting this stock on the day earlier because, well, it was super rangy. It was doing nothing. It was really kind of the prototypical, if you wanted to put a textbook version of an intraday range, this kind of would be it with the outlier over here on the IB high and the IB low. Then after we settled down, it really kind of stuck within a range, 167.50, 167 and 2/3 low of the day, or well, bottom end of the range, excuse me. And then essentially a 168 and 1/3 top end. That all changed once we broke through that at 12.15, and it really changed on this candle over here at 12.40. That was about 17 minutes ago. Good strength on AMZN since that time. So packing my patience there. See if I can print a little bit higher on it. We've got 87s, weather beak a little bit there at 95s. Let's see if we can move up a little bit more. My stop stays in the exact same place. Nothing changes about this one. Trying to pack my patience on it. Tesla though. So it did give you a short-term short. And so if you were waiting at that level for a possible touch at that 206, let's call it 3/4, let's call it 70s, and you got the resting order super quick, well, you were able to wet your beak on 30, 40 pennies. But look what happened after that. This candle over here has made, a higher low. What it hasn't done is a higher high. So this candle could be a candle of bamboozlement if we print above that 7.2 area. What's the high of this candle? The high of this candle is 7.2, so it is essentially the high of day. If we continue to print above this, well, this candle will be definitely a bamboozler, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't have printed off it. So Tesla, interesting look right now. There we go. We got the 1.7 touch on AMZN. Not going to take it out here. What could reject? I don't care. Let's see exactly what it does. If we continue to move up, I want to be a part of this. So I'm not going to just take it out because it touched 170. Even if I go out of the money, that's fine. Or we're going to let the trade manifest. And if it doesn't manifest the way that you anticipated, well, then that's a lesson learned. New high a day on the future, as I was talking about that. The NQ continues to move higher into 19,073. So possible 19.1 incoming. It's kind of hard to tell at these levels because, well, we had a big move down. So there's going to be multiple areas of support and resistance to chart. Let's go to the hourly, though, and figure out where we could encounter that next level of resistance. We obviously know 19,100, the 100-point levels are important. Well, let's look over here. There's not really a whole lot of resistance, at least on a multi-day basis, until we get into about 19.3.5. You'll be able to see that on the 25th, as well as the 29th and 30th, we danced with 19.3.5, 19.3 2/3. But, you know, normal for me is to look at resistance at every 100-point level until, you know, they prove that that they're not important. We're continuing to move up here on the future, though. So fantastic look, 19,075. Meta is absolutely flying. It's not Amazon now. They're taking turns about who's pimping the future right now. 530 coming in on Meta, 529.98. That's a high day. Let's just call that 530 because it's off by 2 pennies. Great look on Meta. Let's do some charting to see where we could encounter resistance. Well, we might encounter resistance at, let's see over here. What do we got on this day? What time was that? That's 8:30. That's not going to cut it. This level over here, 540, let's say. Well, I could have told you that, $10 level. So no real resistance from 530 right until that 540 area, unless you base it on the, was that an IB high there? That's 830. So that's a pre-market print. Yeah, so I'm unlikely to want to base it on that. But anyway, Meta breaking through 530 now. The high of day is 530.11. Amazon, though, we're about 3 pennies out of the money as that one does touch 170 and reject. I'm not going to take it out because the candles are not putting lower highs, but I'm packing my patience to see if we can break through 170 on a closing basis a day. So far, we've just touched it and then dropped back down. Tesla, 2 candles of indecision now at this level. So we were talking about this candle possibly making a higher high above this candle of indecision. So 2 candles of indecision right now. One barely red, one barely green. How does this one end up unfolding? This one did make a lower low. Okay, so we were talking about...
Google events also starting, for some reason they're playing a Jay-Z remix. There's nothing to say there, but it's just they're starting the opening images and scalping it because it's moving down.
Oh,
they haven't done anything yet. They're just showing like a little opening video. But yeah, right now it looks like we're having a little bit of a sell the news.
Very nice.
Yeah,
all right, so we're very excited about that as it presents us with intraday volatility. Who doesn't want that as a day trader? So anyway, this candle I was talking about here, this candle did end up making a newer low. So we were talking about it being the candle bamboozling because it could make a higher high and a higher low. That isn't the case at the moment. So we're going to keep tabs on TSLA as it is at that key area of possible resistance here at 206 and change it there. Wow, Meta's really going. Meta just blew through 530. So all sorts of strength right now on Meta.
Yeah, I just sent the Google event link there in the chat. Again, right now they're just playing allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove. Okay, also they dedicated the event to Susan Wojcicki, who is like the former YouTube CEO who recently passed away. So not market events, but just that's all that's happened so far. We have Rick Osterloh. He just took the stage here. And yeah, he's like, watch from YouTube. He's wearing a blue shirt. I did put the link there in the chat so you guys can follow this. Right now, they're just kind of on the stage there. It's Google colored. He's showing the screen. Market not reacting too much. I got it on my Google scalp short because we got above 30s, which was an area I was kind of watching. Anyways, but keep an eye on GOOGL here. He's saying they literally have on the screen right now making AI more helpful for everyone. So there should be some AI announcements with regards to this phone. I know Sharif was just talking about, wouldn't it be great if headphones had AI in them for the Google? So I think that would be a really interesting look there. We'll have to see if Rick tells us anything. Also, I just noticed on my side chart, not at all related to the Google event here, but this AMD, I made that face because this VWAP bounce is the thing of dreams. This is like a textbook bounce here. Wow. Higher low slightly as well. Bounce, bounce. great look. I think if we can pop the top off here, break the lid of this 140.50, pop that champagne bottle, I think that'd be a great look here for AMD. I just saw that in my side chart, wanted to address that. Right now, though, Google, for me, what I've seen since the event began is a waffle between 164.20 and 164.30. That is not a super exciting range. It's pretty minimal, so I want to wait and see what happens here. I wonder if this, like, remember when MetaConnect sold the news
remember that.
aggressively, and we were both long that? Oof. That was fun. So yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Google does here. I don't know if it'll necessarily have a MetaConnect moment, but I think there could be something of note here as we hear our keynote. But right now he's talking about what they're doing across their tech stack. Also, the thing interesting with this meeting too is every time he says anything, the screen changes. So they put a lot of work into this presentation. I want to shout that out. He's talking about how they're going to address every layer of the stack. I'm not going to give an entire play-by-play though, because a lot of this is just the intro. I'm going to keep eyes on that and on GOOGL while we get into our final lesson of the day, because it is 1 p.m. Time flies, Sharif, when you're having fun in these
Honestly.
markets. Is there anything you're looking at ahead of the
I got stopped out for the remaining amount that I had on AMZN, broke 73, and it is curling back down a little bit. I'm looking at 169.25, possibly 169.5 as a possible dip area. That's where the 10 exponential is.
Also, he's talking about their TPUs, just so you guys know. He's saying, our technology allows our TPUs to be built for you. So I heard him say the word TPU, and I was like, I have to interrupt. Again, I'll be reading the subtitles and listening to Mr. Osterloh as I do this lesson here. So let's get going here with this lesson, though. So let's be talking about some earnings whispers and leaks. Sometimes the earnings will give you whispers, and sometimes there are leaks, and it's important to understand the implications of those. Also, we have Google dripping into, speaking of leaking, Google's leaking down into that 164 area as he talks about Gemini 1.5 Pro. So just worth noting that as well. So let's talk about understanding earnings whispers. So earnings whispers are basically unofficial estimates of a company's earnings per share, their EPS, and they're circulated among investors and analysts before the official release. Hence the name of that website, Earnings Whispers. And so these estimates will often originate from anonymous sources within the company or within the industry, and they can impact stock prices, especially if they diverge sharply from official analyst estimates. So if you've got, for example, fake corporation, their XYZ Corp, let's say this corporation, or Bamboozlement Inc., I don't know, let's see that they have an unverified whisper of a significant earnings beat, which led to a pre-market or pre-earnings rally, but then the report comes out and it turns out those whispers were actually misheard. It was like playing a game of telephone. You didn't hear those whispers right, and the stock quit doing. And that can be a little bit, some rumors of manipulation. So let's use an example from Facebook in 2018. So Facebook's Q2 2018 earnings report, I showed it to FB, its old ticker before it became Meta. There was some significant anticipation regarding its company's financial performance, with analysts having consensus estimates predicting a really strong growth in revenue, actually focusing on how there could be some impact on its user growth. And there were some whispers and leaks suggesting that those earnings might actually not meet expectations, with some hints actually showing potential issues with user growth and engagement. So, of course, that would be of concern if we've got analysts being like, user growth, engagement. And then now we hear some whispers saying, maybe that's not the case. The market did react pretty sharply, and Facebook's stock actually plunged over 20% in a single day. At the time, this was one of the largest single-day losses of market value in U.S. stock market history, 120 billion lost in one day. Let's talk. Here's one example, and I want to shout it again, Sharif, for putting together this awesome little lesson here with headlines. So good look there. You can see a global active daily users. You talked about user growth, right? That missed expectations. 1.47 billion versus estimates here of 1.49 billion. So big yikes, and thanks again to Sharif for putting those details here. Also, he's talking right now, Rick's talking about stacking layers on cloud and devices. There's not much to say here. Just keep you guys updated. I am still watching this Google event and the GOOGL chart. But how do you use earnings whispers? Well, you want to treat them with skepticism, of course, because whispers can offer some potential trading opportunities, but you have to make sure to approach them with caution because not all whispers are accurate. Also, one thing as well to note, this is not a whisper nor is it a leak, but it's something I've noticed with reports. If you have a company announcing what should be a positive catalyst the day of or the day before their earnings, I might watch out, because we had that with Lumen announcing, we have like $5 billion worth of deals. Disney being like, I have, what was the announcement with Disney? Disney raising its prices for its subscription models. Netflix with its WWE partnership. All of those announcements, the day of or the day before earnings, all of those stocks missed on some portion of their earnings, or they disappointed Wall Street in some way. So be aware of these announcements that you get from companies before earnings. That could be an earnings whisper of its own. Again, I'm not trying to say this always is accurate, but I've seen it happen 3 out of 3 times now. So just be aware sometimes of some things companies say here. With regards to whispers, to get back to this, you want to make sure you're cross-verifying and comparing whispers with analyst estimates and other available information to make sure that it is as credible, or you're getting as much of verification as credibility as you possibly can, because you're never 100% sure. You also want to make sure to be very careful with the risk here, especially with something that is as inherently risky as relying on an earnings whisper. Make sure you're implementing stop-loss orders and position sizing to make sure that you're mitigating any potential losses. Earnings leaks are a bit of a riskier game. So what are these? They can occur when you've got confidential financial info being prematurely disclosed to individuals outside of the company, otherwise known as insider trading. There can be legal consequences here because you're trading on non-public information. Also, the company leaking the non-public information. That is also not a great look. We also have a new man hitting the stage here in Google. He's wearing a blue polo. His name is Samir Samat, and he's talking right now. And there's even more things across the screen. So insider trading, just get back to this lesson here. That's what happens when you've got individuals trading on leaked information. They can face little consequences, and there's also some corporate liability because the companies from which the information is leaked can also be held liable for said leaks, especially if there's a failure to implement adequate safeguards to keep this info safe. So let's talk about Raj here and the Galleon Group. So he was the founder of the Galleon Group, which is a hedge fund that was one of the largest in the world, or when it was at its peak. And the firm was also known for some aggressive trading strategies. But in October 2009, which, as Sharif mentioned, was near the height of that financial crisis, he was arrested and later convicted for insider trading, which one of the key pieces that was used against him being that he had received non-public insider info about some companies' quarterly financial results ahead of their earnings reports announcements. And this info was provided by insiders at those companies. One notable instance actually involved info from Rajat Gupta of Goldman Sachs. He was a board member of Goldman Sachs, and it was actually involving the financial results for GS, with Gupta telling Raj ahead of time that they were going to actually report a loss. This was contrary to market expectations. So, of course, that gave, especially when it was contrary to market info, giving some insider info. And keep in mind, insider trades, this is multiple trades. So here's Raj, did end up getting used against him, and he uses information to make trades millions of dollars in illegal profits. So be very careful with earnings leaks, because that information, you want to be cautious how you're using it. Maybe don't, of course, use it, because we're not down for insider trading around these parts. The role of social media here is really worth noting, too, because social media can amplify whispers and leaks. So if we hear, like, for example, you'll see things like, oh, this company reported, you always want to make sure, because there can be a lot of whispers without a lot of facts. So always make sure, because you can see the acceleration of these leaks and of these early reports and earning information, both accurate and inaccurate. So always make sure to do your fact checking. Sentiment analysis is also a really interesting way to use social media with regards to earnings, because monitoring the sentiment can provide additional insights into market expectations. However, it's essential to filter out noise and misinformation. It's also worth noting, I want to use Tesla as an example here, because there are a lot of Tesla bulls. I've talked a lot about following Tesla bulls on social media. Sometimes they'll have biases with regards to earnings whispers and what people are expecting for earnings, right? So make sure that you're looking at different sources and looking at the balance of the evidence.
Bang.
Before you make your assumption with regards to earnings. I'm not trying to signal out Tesla there. I'm just saying that is one where you do have a lot of bulls on social media stirring things around there. So just one example that came off the top of my head. Regulatory scrutiny is also worth noting here, because financial regulators are really looking at social media as a source of potential market manipulation, whether that's accurate or not. We do have Keith Gill being looked at here as well, but there was also one example on the flip of that, because I don't want to be bullying the cat man. We have Andrew Left, the lemon man of Citrus Research, where he's been singled out there for some market manipulation on social media. So be aware of what you read on social media, and also be aware of what you post on social media, because earnings whispers and leaks can offer potential opportunities, but it's very easy to tiptoe over that slippery line. That line's not VWAP. That line is between what is legal and what is not. One more for good measure. So yeah, with that out of the way, thank you very much to Sharif for preparing that really interesting lesson that I think is a little bit of a different take here.
Completely different. I mean, we didn't talk about earnings. We didn't talk about trades. We talked just about some market facts, so we can kind of know. I mean, always newer traders coming in. I know I educated myself on this lesson as well, because there was some information there I didn't know. So thank you for going over that, Adara. All right, guys, we're breaking out here on Tesla. Tesla's blowing through 208, and the future is at 19,083. I'm looking at Softy because it's coming off that 414-ish area and coming into the 10 exponential. And it's been a very good directional day today for the future. So we're going to pack our patience, try to take a trade here on the soft one. Let's see if we can defend 413 since we're awfully close into that area as well. So we'll look to possibly profit off this bad boy a little bit over here. Where are we at in terms of, yeah, all right. So let's wait up here. Let's see if we can get something in around there. Come on, soft one. Here we go. We're showing 36s here on the ask. Now 35s. Let's see if the bid can cross up. Not yet. So zigging and zagging a little bit over here, trying to pack my patience as the future catches a bit of a downside move. But already put the beak wetter and the profit target. Let's look at this Tesla move over here. What a strong day for Tesla. Now, it's a back and forth competition right now between Nvidia and Tesla as to who wants to be the biggest and the baddest of the Mag 7 names on the day. 5.93 for Nvidia, 5.5 for TSLA. Oh, baby. 50 million shares traded for Tesla, 187 million. I'm willing to bet you most of those for Nvidia, one of the 187 million are probably options based. I hear that it's become the options king now, while Tesla used to be the options king. 208.5 right now. HOD on TSLA. Wow, what a move up. I'm in Softy. I'm waiting to get printed. It feels like forever here at 33s, despite the fact that it's crossed. And there we go. Now we get the print, guys. Let's see if we can move up possibly into that $50. We got, what do we have, long 20s, 21s, or whatever it is. Let's see if we can work our way up to 50s. We just printed the high of the day on the future, 19,086.75. You're at high a day on Apple. You're at high a day on Tesla. You're at high a day on Nvidia. Get it, Katina, man. You're not on high a day on Amazon, even though we just printed on that. We printed that 170 on AMZN. Comes back into the level again on Softy. So happy that I de-risked, but I'm still waiting to see if that 10 exponential on MSFT wants to act as a local area of support. What I'll be waiting to see is if we can make a 5-minute candle to make a new high. That will help me confirm the trend. So what am I looking at here? So we're obviously in a downtrend. That green line is the 10 exponential, hence why I got in there, because we have been really respecting it, as you can see on the day.
Oh my God, Google's having some demo issues here. This guy cannot get the demo started. You keep saying, let's say if the demo gods are with us.
And it tanked?
Yeah, it just tanked here. The first time it didn't work, it was fine. Then he said, let's see if the demo gods are with us. And then he tanked. I was trying to get in that short a little bit earlier, like when it first started not working. This man is really struggling with his demo. He looks like he's kind of freaking out here. Sorry to him, but congrats to anybody in that short there, because wow, did that thing drop there. Yeah, sorry.
No. That's more important, Adair.
Yeah,
You're covering
happening.
Contemporaneous stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the good stuff there. Contemporaneous means
Like
like
stuff that's happening right now.
Yeah. Oh, right.
The demo worked and everybody clapped and cheered. It's the loudest this crowd has been all day.
They
But
were
Google
worried
can't
about
really-
their shares.
Yeah,
That's why they're like, no, don't dump. Was it live when Elon crashed or broke the window on the Cybertruck? Was it live? It wasn't live. All right. Well, anyway, Softy's in at the 10 exponential again. So decisions for me to be made around here. I'm going to pack my patience. I already have my out through 414. I'm going to be all eyes and ears and everything else at 414 as well. Even though I got in on the 10 exponential, doesn't mean 414 is not an important level. So if we hold 414 here, we do have some, a little bit of zig and zag into that 414 level, showing that there was some buying and selling around there. So I'll be very interested at 414 if we do work our way down. Now we're breaching, so now I'm out of the money by about 3 pennies here on the soft one. Decisions to be made. I'm seeing that big red candle on Google and even Meta coming off a little bit. So a little bit of a pullback here, Adara, as we inch into that 19.1 on the futures. Not quite there yet. 19,087, still the high of day on the NQ September contract. 2 1/3. Oh, baby, the NQ is just outperforming everything else today. ES, 1.4. The Dow, 0.79. Even the Russell rotation, question mark, 1 1/4. The NQ absolutely killing it today above 19,000, looking to go 19 to Adair.
Yeah, the demo people look really nervous, so I'm going to stay in my Google short. I actually added to my Google short. We just got part of it out there at 80s. If we stay below 164, I'm staying in. If we get above 164, I'll get out. I also want to talk about the other short I'm in, which is Nike. Someone was mentioning, oh, no one's talking about Nike. And I was like, yeah, like I did forget about Nike. I had Nike up. I liked that 78.65 failure. The short didn't work out. We made a new high a day, but I wanted to keep an eye on it because if you've noticed here, Nike has really been struggling with 79. We get up into 79, we get up nicely, we get up kind of violently, and then Nike's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Continue to run? I'd rather not. And it comes back down. Now, could this be a range? Yes. I'm still risking same level. I actually think before I was risking around 85, I'm risking to 80s here. Let's see what we can do. We got back below the 90 MA with a nice little topping tail candle, so I decided to get involved there in that short. Google here, these demo people look so nervous. Like the way that guy, you could tell like the fear was slowly like seeping into his bones. And then he made a Sabrina Carpenter reference because he was like, oh, like, let's see, like Google, like, let's see if we can get Sabrina Carpenter tickets. And it wouldn't work. And then, yeah, I was like thinking he probably wants a Me Espresso. And then he was panicking because he's like, oh, because we mentioned Sabrina Carpenter. Let's see if we can get Google to add espresso to our cart. And you could tell he was like really worried. And then it worked. So I was like, shout out to you. Kind of scared looking man, but Google's still below 194. It looks, or sorry, 164. It's below 194, but 164 was the level to which I was referring. Still below that level here. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to see what we do here. I'm a little bit disappointed I wasn't able to get that big move down in the demo because the second I think the first time he missed the demo, I was like, this will be a short. And then I was never able to strike. Had that Quadunk. Shout out to anyone who's involved in that. I am sorry to any of the longs involved in that name though, because I feel badly for him too. It's always unfortunate when those demos don't work out. I am very sad I was not here for the era of the Cybertruck smashing because that sounds like that was quite the.
I think it's on
the affair
YouTube for sure.
I'll have to find that. Yeah. But anyways, I always really enjoy like the opportunity to get to cover events like these live on the midday show because they're not always going to do anything, but sometimes they do. We've had at least 5 people on the stage right now. This is such a multi-person event. Now we've got Jenny on again in her pink shirt and maroon leather jacket. I don't know why so many people are required, but apparently they are. But yeah, this Google event still happening here, guys. Swear I'm mostly just talking about Google because that event is going on. But also I'm not even in Palantir. Nike still below my level. Please does punch. If there's any things you guys are looking at, though, get in that chat and let us know. Exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. We did get a nice little pop here above 164 on GOOGL. So I'm going to have to get out here. Happy I tried that trade, but whatever stock you're looking at in this segment brought to you by Real Trading, let us know. But again, if you guys are like, how do I get in that chat? You have to subscribe. Yeah. And if you subscribe, you're part of a great community. So why wouldn't you want to? I know. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, get in that chat, let us know, and let's be a part of things. We've got a little, I don't want to say topping tail, but slightly lower high here forming in the SPY in the 5-minute. Nike nicely below that level. We got Google heading back to 164. This day is, I know I keep saying it, but this day has been one of the most interesting in the market. And now Starbucks gives me my 93 bounce. Really? I wish I had more eyes than I had, Sharif. There's so many stocks to look at here. Yeah, also, there's going to be another live demo here, guys. So watch out if you're in Google. I like it. I think people were talking about their headsets and how they could be AI connected. So that's pretty cool. I think somebody put that in the chat not long ago. I think that would be super interesting to have. You know, you're on there and you don't really always want to pull up your phone. I just want to be able to touch my ear and, I don't know, feel like I'm in Star Trek or something. But I like that. Yeah, that's a good goal to have. Yeah, whatever. It's okay. Here's what I'm watching. How? Ram says technically you can do that. Yeah, really? Well, Siri, okay, that's great. But Ram, Siri still sucks. So once Siri gets the upgrade, I think that'll be a little bit better. And we're expecting a really good upgrade for Siri. So hopefully we'll get it. And it's not just, words. All right, so I'm still in Microsoft long at 21s. We just printed 40s. I'm waiting for something around the $0.50. Looks like we are defending 414, but I suck as a trader, so I didn't add at 414. I think we dipped into 10s or high single digits. Yeah, it looks like we dipped into 5s or 7s. I didn't have a sitting order there. I thought we would work our way down into 114 to possibly get the add there. So we're not getting much in the way of this trade, but it's not breaking down either. So keeping an eye on that. Tesla, though, looks like an
look, it's a possible mean reversion here. And the reason I say that is because it's extended off the 10 on the 5. So 207.17, we're printing 208s right now. Maybe we could come in and defend possibly either 207 or that area top here, but Tesla's very strong. 5 1/3. Nvidia and it, like I mentioned, are fighting back and forth. 5 3/4 right now for Nvidia, 5 1/3 for TSLA. And yeah, that's really all that I see. We're again not Microsoft, sorry. On Amazon, we're still kind of whiffling and waffling in the high 169s. We touched 170 earlier. I was able to profit on this one. Tried to take it back short, got stopped out for a little bit there. So I'm zigging and zagging on it as well. I want to see if it can move through 170, because if it can, then we can use 170 as a local area of support, obviously previous resistance. I like the fact that these candles are all putting in higher lows. This is the 5-minute look right now on AMZN. Even though we haven't worked our way back into 170, the buyers here are buying it at higher levels on every single increment down. So we'll see if that can get a nice print. That's the look there. No real other trade for me except this Microsoft, which I already took a bit of profit on, but I'm really waiting for that $0.50 to come in if it does come in. We're still holding the 10 exponential on the 5. I'm unsure exactly how to think of this trade at the moment. The future coming down off that 19,087. It's at 69, still above the 10 exponential though on the future. So we'll keep tabs on that. Adara is listening to the Google event. And as we can see, Google still kind of, it's up 1%, but it's definitely underperforming the market. The market's up 2 1/3. Google up 1.1, not even 1 1/3. It's trying to hold 164. This is an interesting area on Google. Even though you had that huge move down while that man was having technical difficulties, this 164 area was an obvious area crest earlier. Which we did. We came into 164, but look how quickly we got bought up into 164. So that could be interesting. If we get a bullish look here on Google, 164 could be an area of support. You're only 9 pennies above it right now. So you'd risk 10 or 9 pennies to get in at this level. So we'll keep tabs on all these names. Microsoft's boring me to death. It's not breaking up. It's not breaking down. I'm flat on it at the moment. 3 pennies in the money. This isn't the trade that I thought it would be. Microsoft, show yourself. Move up into $0.50 a day.
Show yourself, Microsoft. Google, this event, now there's, I can't tell if this is a musical interlude or it ended. I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. But basically, yeah, so I put this in the chat because this was really funny. This lady was like talking, Jenny, in her beautiful little purple coat there. She was talking to Gemini. She was like, oh, like, give me an example. I think of like an experiment to do with a kid or something. Oh. And what the AI was like, oh, you could do like invisible ink or something. It looks super cool and trippy. That was a real response that the AI said. Neo Roberts in the chat saying, too bad it didn't say rad. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But anyways, that notwithstanding, Google, as Sharif said, really, really stagnant right now. I've been watching the book on this. We're between 164 and 164.15. Also stagnant is my Nike short. This one is a little bit on the treadmill, but it's not speed walking. It's literally walking in place here. We're still below 80s. I'm still in this trade, but man, I would love to see this move lower. I'll add to this if we get to that 50s area, if we get nicely below 50s. There's another man. His name is Brian Rakowski. We've had at least 5 or 6 people here today, guys. There are so many people involved in this Google demo, and they're all wearing jackets, even though they're in California. So, right?
Good point.
Pardon?
Good point.
Right? So love to see what happens here with this event. Sunder has not hit the stage, by the way. It's a lot of other people. I would also, I do feel really badly for that guy with that demo issue, but man, I'm also feel very badly for any longs during that demo issue for Google. So big look there. We're going to have to wait and see what happens in Google. Palantir breaking back down. Upset I missed that 38 break because I saw that and I was like, oh, you liked 38s earlier, Dara. I didn't get in. It's all good. You cannot trade every single name, try as I might. No, all jokes aside, though, I have been trying to try some new things. So I think that's always, you want to be trying different stuff for sure. Palantir, though, definitely a bit of an interesting one. Nike, I'm still in that short, but look what else is maybe flipping from support to resistance. On. I was clearly got out of this long too early. Happy to go to where I did, though, because we were really stagnant around that 42s before pushing up higher. We actually got up at 43s. Now, though, we're below the 90 MA. Look at that wick into 4280s. I would rather see us get below 4250s. If we get below 4250s, I risk into that 70s, 80s area, and I think you could take at least 42s on this. So on, I know I took you off my side chart, but you got to go back on because you have to go back on because I do like that rejection here of 42.80s. Nike's certainly moving up here, and some people were like, is this an on sympathy play? On initially gapped down before coming back up here, so I'm really not sure, but good look for Nike there. Although it is a little bit stagnant. Good look for on, currently up about 8% in the day. Another earnings name with a reversal was SE. This is C Limited. This company, they have the Shopee. So good look here for SE. This one also traded a little bit lower, now currently up about, wow. Woo. SE, I don't need to add any other names to my side chart, but I like that support resistance here at 74.50s. And as I continue to revisit old earnings names from this morning, we've got HD, Home Depot. It certainly looked like it had a little bit of improvement, home improvement, if I might say, from what we saw earlier today on that HD.
Like that.
We did have a little bit of resistance here at the 34.80, support at VWAP at 345. We broke above that, popped up beautifully. Higher highs, higher lows, generally a little bit of being stagnant though here at this 90 MA around that 351. Spread of about 50 cents though, which for a $350 name, I don't love. I'm okay with the larger spread on Lilly because Lilly is like $900. This spread on HG, I think that spread needs to be a little bit like, home improved. I want to see the Property Brothers getting some work done on that, on that spread on Home Depot, because I am not a fan. Basically flat on Nike right now. Have a lot of things on my mind. I definitely am excited to aggressively journal tonight because I'm happy I was trying to take some different trades, take some more trades than I'm used to, but I want to make sure you're always zeroing in on the best opportunities because every day there's not going to be a million A+ opportunities. You just have to zone in on the ones that are A+ for you. As we continue to see Brian chat, we see some more images. No updates on Google right now, but I'm still looking at that one for sure. How are you doing over here with
Just
Meta?
took 20 pennies there. Not on Meta. I'm in Microsoft.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
My
all
bad.
good. Because
I
we
thought
both
that said
start with M, that's why. This one is really having trouble breaking through the $0.50, so I said to myself, just take the profits here. I like the look right now on Tesla, because we were talking about this one mean reverting back possibly into the 10 exponential. It's exactly what it did. Didn't take the trade. Should have been putting on that trade. 207.20. I was sitting at 15s waiting to defend 207. It didn't dip down. Worst it could do was that $0.25. Now we're at about the $0.50, the 2/3 of a dollar. So 3 red candles here for TSLA, but it just does, generally defend that 207, or sorry, not the 207 level, the 10 exponential on the 5, which it has been for the most part respecting all day. Mostly, it's either been the 10 or the 20. The more trending times, the retracements come into the 10. The consolidative time over here, midday, it really did respect that 20. So Tesla has been giving you opportunities, whether or not we took them, entirely different story. And I feel so silly having taken that out on Microsoft because I waited and I waited and I waited. And yeah, you can show the chart. This is kind of why I'm upset. Because I was waiting and waiting for this one to curl into that 60, 50 penny level. And the second I take it out, it just goes. So that's a lesson in context. Pack your patience. If you like your level, just hold on to it and wait to either trigger your beak wetter or trigger your stop. Maybe don't stare at it as much. Just talking to myself. Amazon, right back into 170. I like this one. I don't want to take a breakout through 170. I'm also looking at Meta because it's also at the 10 exponential, and it's been very respectful of that level today, META. You're going to have to give it a bit of room, though, because there are some times where it does dip into that 20 exponential super quick to get everybody out. So good look on all these Mag 7 names, saving except for Tesla, but Tesla still at the 20, or the 10 exponential, so it could bounce off this level for sure if it gets going over here. So let's load up that set Cybertruck and see what it's doing at these levels. Yeah, so it's whiffling and waffling at 207 1/3. I'm not going to just jump in here because it could dip down a little bit more. It's 4 red candles in a row on Tesla. Now, you don't have to be first. I think I can participate with this one if I wait for the first green candle to make a new high. But the one that's kind of been under most people's radars today, I don't know. I mean, I didn't trade it all that much. I had a couple of trades on it. Look at Apple. So working its way slowly into triple twos, 222. It's at 22189 now. It's been very incremental. It's how it's made its way up. It's definitely not the volume leader or the actual percentage up on the day leader, but it's working its way through these levels, so we'll keep tabs on that. Yeah, Tesla does look like it's defending the 10 exponential, at least for the moment. as some of its counterparts make higher highs. I'm talking about Amazon. I'm talking about Apple. Which other one over here? Yeah, I guess that's really the only two that made newer highs right now. Good look for both of them. Keeping my eye on TSLA. I really like it possibly at this 10 exponential. So we'll pack our patience there. Let's look at some of the small cap gappers, see what is involved in these. CXAI has been in play all day. Off the 376 high a day. Does look like it defended that 330 area. That's interesting. Flip from resistance to support. You get about a triple top there or so at around 3 1/3. We go 3 3/4, dip down into 3 1/3, defend it. Now we're at 3 1/2. Love these kind of stair step patterns on some of the small cap gappers. You see them often. So good look there for CXAI. Some of the other names, Starbucks looking to curl off VWAP. So this has been hugging VWAP all day with a couple of breaches over here. Now we're starting to break above this area resistance, which was at 93 1/4 and 1/3. Now we just got to the $0.50. So rounding a little bit there off VWAP. There's umpteen amount of buyers to keep this close to VWAP. So people really liking the headline today, removing the whatever the year and a half CEO and putting in this this Chipotle guy. Forget his name. What's Nickel?
Brian Nickel.
So moving up there, let's see if it can get into 94. Is SBucks. I like CXAI as well. Let's flip back, see what these monsters are doing. Here comes Tesla. Here top right into 207. So breaking through the 10 exponential. The other area I'll be looking at if 207 gives way is 206.50. But you're seeing topping tails now on a bunch of them. And this is why I didn't want to get into Meta. Right there at the 10 exponential. Look at that. It broke it aggressively. Now it's coming possibly into 528. Let's see if the 20 exponential holds up here on Meta. Apple, topping tail candle through 22189. That's not a good look. And you're seeing that same ugly inverse topping tail, inverse hammer, topping tail candle right now on the soft one. So this is not a good look for these Mag 7s right now as they look to curl back down. Obviously a healthy pullback on the day. No question about that. You're seeing that as well on Amazon. We're right back below 170 with a topping tail through 170.16. We'll have to see if these topping tails become operative or they're just one candle and then we continue to move up again. So I'm going to send it to you while I set up some orders.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, where wow, my brain. Yeah, that I had something I wanted to say. I just want to shout you out because I was going to shout you something specific and I don't remember what that was. But shout out to Sharif there. And also best of luck with those trades there.
Hopefully.
And also, yeah, a lot of people there were talking about Tesla as well in the chat. So Tesla pretty interesting here. IWM, I got in a short in the lower high. Happy with that. Took out profit like 20 cents in the money. Then I added because we were nicely below that 207s there. One thing I want to work at is not necessarily adding. I think it's good to be adding. And it's not like I'm averaging when it's against me. I'm averaging when I'm in the money, but I want to work on this side where I'm adding because I could have arguably waited for 206.50s. Sorry, no, 206.95s instead of adding here at 206.91s. That being said, we're in the money here. I will be getting out another half of this position of the new average position here at 206.70s because that was a previous area of support resistance. And that's the same reason I got out of part of this where I did here because that was where we had a little bit of resistance earlier. So I was like, if we can break below that, then it makes sense to add. But until we break below that, it makes sense to piece out a little bit there. So let's get ready for some 72s. Take out half this position there. Should it reach that level? Also, in terms of where I will be stopping out initially, when I first got in here, I was like, oh, well, I got in. One thing that Sharif said that I think is huge, I think this is what I meant to shout him out on, was that when we have these low, if you're going to get in on a lower high, whatever you use as your basis to getting in the trade, sometimes you want to use that as your basis for leaving the trade. So if I'm getting in a lower high, if we make a higher high, that's where I'd have to leave. So if we break above that 207.30, that's where I would have to go. We broke below that. I basically got in. I think the highest it wicked in while I was in it was just below 20s. Then we continued lower. Right now, though, that 207 area, just the way we broke below that and the way we haven't been able to decisively break back above that, if we get above 207s, I'm out for the time being. And as this trade moves lower, especially with me adding into it, right, as we see the trade change, the winds of change occur in this trade, I might be, being swept by the wind into different directions for this trade. So interesting look there. You're going to have to keep eyes on that. Sharif has said sometimes, earlier today as well about like these trades kind of lulling you to sleep. Nike is doing that. Am I out of the money in Nike? No. Am I in the money in Nike? I'm sorry, I'm slightly out of the money in Nike, a couple cents here. Am I in the money in Nike? When I am, it's like by 5 cents. I still love all of these topping tail candles. I think if this area of support breaks, I think it will break beautifully. I think there's some clear resistance at 79. I just don't know if this will breakdown will happen while I am in the midday show, and that's kind of what the issue is here for NKE. I figured out what I meant to shout you out on, by the way.
What?
It was what you had to say earlier about like trades lulling you to sleep, because Nike, although it is an Olympian, right now is kind of napping on the finish line there. It's definitely not putting in the caliber performance that the Australian breakdancer did, okay? Because she kept you entertained, she was exciting, and she had energy, and she was really happy to be there. Nike, this chart right now is giving me none of that. Though these topping tail candles are keeping me a little fed. IWM back here into 207, so I might have to leave here. We've got yet another man here wearing yet another jacket. He kind of looks like the guy that wasn't Jacob Elordi in the kissing booth. So if anyone in the chat watches the kissing booth, you'll know what I mean. But this man here he has a bit of a Hollywood look. He's wearing a jacket, a blue jacket, and a maroon shirt. So we'll see what happens there. Also, Palantir, wow, I should have gotten back in that short at 30.20, but you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I have like 8 side charts now. Now I'm wondering if that's too many side charts, if I should be streamlining my view a little bit, because you don't want to get stimulation overload or sensory overload. That's one thing that I will have to aggressively journaling about. Just as I'm excited about Nike moving to the downside, we are back to flat. Nike, pick a lane. Sincerely, pick what lane you're going to run in, and just let me know.
I like it. Amazon is absolutely flying, Adair, and there's good strength coming into the zone right now. 107 and a third, real good strength here on Amazon as it really blows through that 1.7 area. Where's the Amazonian when you need him? Come on, Ob, where you at? So look, yeah. Bit of a tougher look there. I just got stopped at a Tesla as it broke in 207. I had a really tight stop there because I didn't know exactly what the Cybertruck was going to do. But everything moving up here except Tesla, so a bit of a tougher choose for me. I was trying to get in but into the meta train, but we all know how that is. It's awfully spready there. So we'll keep tabs on Tesla. I still like Tesla possibly at 207. Sorry for the distorted charts as it really reclaims that level again super quick. So we'll see if this 207 level on the day wants to hold or what the deal is. I don't want to get cut up too many times on this name, but it's at a critical area, this 207
Kiki
area.
Palmer just walked on stage at the Google event for reasons I do not understand.
Altman?
Kiki Palmer. Kiki Palmer to promote her book. She's an actress. What is this Google event? Kiki Palmer is in this amazing pink outfit that I want for myself. Oh my God, I love this outfit. Shout out to Kiki Palmer here. I don't know if we can show this, but look at this outfit here. Kiki Palmer shouting out her book for some reason at this Google event. She was a child actress. She was Aquila and the Bee. She was also in the Jordan Peele movie Nope in like 2021. She's quite well known. She's hosted SNL and now she's off the stage. So what is this Google event? I am so shocked. This has been one of the most fun events to be covering, by the way. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but Kiki Palmer cut off the event, so I had to address that.
Yeah, as long as you're excited there, because I have no idea who she is. So 207 still involved in this one, keeping an eye on it. 206.50 will be an interesting area for me as well, although I think it'll be a little different if Tesla comes into that 206.50 because its counterparts are not. And it will also be a definite give of the 207 area. So I'm not sure how I feel about that 207 area on TSLA, or sorry, 206.50, I should say, on TSLA. But I'm very interested on Amazon right now. For whatever reason, Amazon is really catching a bid here, and I still have nothing to explain the strength in Amazon on the day, but I guess you don't really need it because, well, it's just moving up. Where's my Amazon screen? Allow me a minute, guys. Can't really find my zone screen at the moment. Let's pull it up, AMZN.
Screen's not in the zone?
No, it's not, right? And it doesn't trade on the Amex either, Adara. You know, it's lost in the jungle. Yes, Ram.
Thank you. She says you're welcome. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah, so 170.50 now, 53, 54, 55. This was going here. AMZN getting the squeeze. I wonder if this is like the inverse Google or something right now because I have no explanation why AMZN is moving up. I'm still looking to see if there's anything related that could possibly be a sympathy play for Amazon. But yeah, great look right now on AMZN. I'm still looking at that 207 on Tesla as it won't give way. But yeah, AMZN, I guess, really has my attention here. I just don't like punching in at highs. You guys know how it is. I need to come in to a key area of technical resistance and take the bounce off there. I just won't chase it at these levels. I also want to mention that Apple broke the 10 exponential and is now below the 20 exponential. So Apple selling off aggressively here after it reached, not aggressively, it's about 50 pennies off the high, breaching the 10 and the 20, still above that 221 level that it was defending all dang afternoon. Essentially from, when did it reclaim 221? At around, let's say, 11 o'clock, right at the top of the show. It was able to get above 221 after failing it earlier on. So we'll see if 221 features possibly here as another or as a level on AAPL. Man, Amazon is headed up. Here comes 65s. This thing is just going. Everybody's piling. Everybody and their mother's third cousin's dog is piling into this one, baby. It looks like we are really squeezing up here. It looks like the whole dollar incoming momentarily, Adara.
Yeah, guys, you only have a few minutes left here, 7 minutes left to get into that chat and vote for the taker of your choice. Exclamation point, join, space, $, maybe it's AMD, maybe it's NKE, maybe it's MSFT, maybe it's ONON, maybe it's Starbucks. We've had so many crazy names today. Maybe it's Google with this event. Whatever it is, guys, get into that chat and let us know. And you can only get into that chat if you subscribe. So please hit that subscribe button if you want to be part of this amazing community. I'm so happy to be here every single day, especially when we get stuff like this happening today with this Google event. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but this is, Sharif knows, I actually love listening to the Fed speak. And when we have events like this during the day, I find it so entertaining. I'm literally excited about our new Fed speaker, Beth Hammock, okay? I've been hyping Beth for a while here. So I love when we get stuff like this, and I'm so happy to be able to cover it on this desk with all of you. I don't know why Kiki Palmer was there, but shout out to Kiki.
Get it,
Love
Kiki.
Get it, Kiki. And thank you, Ramin, for validating me by knowing who Kiki Palmer is. I appreciate that.
I don't mean to, I didn't mean anything.
No, I know.
I just don't know who she is. Yeah.
She's been a thing for years. That's why I didn't.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's why I didn't know. But anyways, yeah. Shout out there, and yeah, she has quite the career as well. So good look there. I don't know why she's there promoting her book. We've introduced now 2 more people. Shanaz and Kenny have now also entered the stage because there have not been enough people here at this Google event so far. Get it, Kenny. Get it, Shanaz. Great look there. But yeah, Nike again back to flat. Just get back to the one trade I'm involved in. We're still here. We're still having these higher wicks. To be clear, I'm staying in this because, as Sharif kind of said earlier, something I really agree with. Being kind of lulled to death by a trade is not a reason to leave the trade. Because if I had left that on for that reason, I would have missed out of a trade that worked out, right? So make sure you're not getting out of trades just because you're bored. I say this as someone who once, and this was in the sim, but I still don't like this. I left the meta trade because I was just like, oh, it's not really happening. I leave and it would have worked $2, right? Meta is one of those ones you have to wait for. So it's like, if you're leaving a trade solely because it's not making the move you want to happen in an instant, that is not the reason. Now, sometimes if you're looking at a book, for example, SPY or Tesla, and it's holding support or resistance really weirdly for a while, that could sometimes be a sign of something in the water. That could sometimes be a sign of the calm before the storm, just as someone who's noticed that.
Bang.
But in other cases, if you're looking at a Nike or an ONON and other aspects of the chart are still showing what you need to see, that's not a reason to leave. That's a reason to breathe and to pack that patience a little bit tighter in that Samsonite bag. Maybe you're like, oh, hey, the airline's letting me bring another carry-on. Let's get another bag. Maybe that's what you need. That's fine. Maybe you need to pack a little bit more patience, but it's not a reason to leave the trade unless it is. I got out of IWM flat here. Like I said, I wanted to see what we did at 207s. We got above 207s. I got out. I think that 207 bounce, it was fun being in this trade, but I think we could be bouncing at 207s here, so I do not want to be getting back in the short. If anything, I think that we could use that 207 support as a long. But like I said, I think my biggest issue today was I had way too many heads on a platter here. I don't like that analogy. I was trading way too many names, had my eyes on way too many things. To be clear, I don't think it's always necessarily a bad thing. There weren't trades that I took that I deeply disliked. Market tank here. I'm going to be keeping an eye on what happened here in this market. What are you seeing here? What are you looking at?
Oh, everything just dropped off a dang cliff. What's going on over here? Apple just broke VWAP. Wow, it's almost a more than dollar move on Amazon. Meta flushing, Microsoft, everything's dropping off. I have no idea what happened. I'm looking.
Some of it's recovering pretty quickly though here too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the algos start buying right away. So, well, I don't see a whole lot on this on the Mag 7. Maybe other stocks are recovering. Not sure what's going on. If you see anything geopolitical, which is sometimes what we get these midday moves. I don't think it's a Google event that could cause this drop. A big drop there midday. Fed Bostic, here it comes. I see this. If economy evolves as I expect, there would be a rate cut by the end of the year. That can't tank the market. What economies? Okay, here we go. Fed Bostic says economy's balance of risks returning to level. Rate of posture is restrictive, but not intended to be permanent. All right, that's not market moving like stuff right there. I'm looking to see if there's anything else coming in. I'm not seeing anything yet. If you guys see anything, let me know, obviously. And then we will scan that and let everybody know. So I did well on my Tesla trade, but I got stopped out for the remaining amount, obviously, as the market tanks. So we took 30 pennies on Tesla because it was zigging. It was zagging with that 207. And I was able to get in 207.07, take it out exactly 37s. But I think the winds of change may have come on these markets unless we get bought up here. So we're all eyes and ears to see exactly what the sitch is. Let's bring in some of the side charts to see what the recoveries or lack thereof look like. So Apple back at VWAP looks like what's in the Amazon defended the 10 exponential moving average. Meta defended 527. For whatever reason, Softy defended the 50. Goggles defended VWAP. So kind of interesting here where some of these bad boys decided to hold up. As well as 19,000. Looks like the futures defended 19,000 with that 07s being the low on that particular 06s, excuse me, being the low on that particular candle. So it looks like it's getting bought up. You have anything?
Yeah, I was going to say it's getting bought up here. Yeah, shout out there. Thank you to Day Trader Cred. Sorry, you guys, for missing that news there. The next comment we had, though, from him is pretty interesting. They're basically saying it'd be bad if we cut rates and had to raise them again. True. So thank you for letting us know that. Also, though, it's worth noting that, Darwin, some of the people in the chat saying this could just be a technical drop. S&P 500, I was trying to short that pop because generally those pops are pretty shortable. It recovered pretty quickly. A lot of these names are recovering pretty quickly here. We also have yet another person joining this Google stream. Now it's this guy named Jimmy Butler. It's this basketball player. So Google continuing to bring out some famous people on this stream. We're getting to see a nice little recovery here as we get this pop here on the S&P 500, little 540 bounce here from what I'm seeing. We dropped it, retested it, IWM bouncing, some of these larger market participants bouncing. Also, in case you were wondering if Nike dropped during that drop, no, it didn't. It did not. We have more geopolitical stuff happening? Or?
Well, there was.
Trying to look here, guys.
Okay, so there is. I mean, I don't know the when this message came out, but I just I love how you said this some guy, Jimmy Butler. Because to me, Jimmy Butler is like, and I have no idea who that.
He's
less it in context.
Yeah.
No. Like in terms of popularity, Jimmy Butler to me, I just know so much about Jimmy Butler, and I didn't know.
And I was very excited about
exactly
Kiki.
Right. So that's your superstar. That was mine.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So here it is, Adara. Lithuania's defense minister says Russia is moving troops from Kaliningrad, to the Kursk region. Lithuanian defense minister said on Tuesday Russia was moving troops from its Baltic enclave of Kaliningrad to the southern Kursk region, the location of an unprecedented Ukrainian cross-border incursion. We saw that yesterday. We don't like to mention political stuff, but when it jives with the market or possibly is market moving, we'll mention it to you. We're not going to offer an opinion either way, but that is what I'm seeing. I'm not sure that that's the reason things are moving. I'm just reading to you what's coming in latest on my blotter there. The market has not recovered. Meta still down. On the way to 527, it's continuing to move down. The soft one did bounce off 413, but look at that. It didn't make a new candle, make a new high. It's still coming down. Likewise with Amazon, obviously 107, 171.04 is the high, but it's continuing to move down, not recovering off its candle there, off the red candle that dropped it. So you're getting that consistency with these names. Obviously still very positive on the day is the Mag 7, the NQ, still above 2%. So it's not tanking these markets as aggressively possibly as maybe the initial move may have indicated, but definitely something to be aware of here. I just wonder if this changes the move for the afternoon. Are we now looking negative? Are we looking short on these names rather than possibly looking for a 19-1 touch? So that I think maybe fundamentally changes the picture. We're going to have to wait to see how this unfolds in the next few minutes or so. Let's see what the chat is up to over here. Anything interesting? Yeah. I see what you're saying, Christopher. Yeah, they don't really care about that kind of stuff. Sometimes they do, though. Sometimes they do. I don't think the world is looking for conflict. It's not bullish, obviously. So, yeah, that's the look there. Day Trader Cut goes on to say, Fed's Bostic contacts don't tell me there are many layoffs. If that continues, we'll be in a good place. Obviously, you want to see strength in the job market. No question about that. We all saw what happened when the NFPs came in later than expected. We got the mother of all sell-offs that basically we're still dealing with. Here's some other stuff. Ram. Fed's Bostic says housing inflation has decreased significantly in recent months. That's really good because we know shelter inflation was one of the reasons we were still up. Rate cut expected by year end if economy evolves as predicted. He goes on to say, Fed's Bostic says recent inflation data gives confidence we can return to 2%, waiting for more data to ensure the trend is real, willing to wait for first rate cut, but expecting it by year end if economy evolves as expected, concerned about cutting rates too soon, and then raising them again, current inflation levels not sustainable. I don't know, man. I like, Canada is plus or minus 2%. So like 3 or 1. The Fed refuses to do that. It's 2 or nothing for them.
They're very set in their ways.
Clearly.
I think with Jackson Hole coming up next week, I'm really excited to cover Jackson Hole. You guys know I like hearing these events. Jackson Hole, I think, should be really, really spicy with that in mind because we do have that next Wednesday to Friday.
And he tanked the market off that in August of 2022.
Inflation is not transitory.
Yeah, no, that was November 2021.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, it's all good. That was the testifying in front of Congress. He said that, but he also tanked the market again in August of 2022. 2022 was a hell of a year for the shorts. I think we bounced once after the war. Yeah, Neil says a little bit. I think we bounced once after the war in either March or April, and then we got a bounce, I think, in June, and we didn't move up again, I think, until the end of the year. So a bit of a tougher look there. A few more minutes until I weasel on up to the green screen, Adair. Anything you're thinking about or looking at?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm still in Nike. I am still flat on Nike. Man, that was the least interesting trade of the day. It sat there and it did nothing. And I'm in it because I had to stay in it. I'm not like upset about it. Obviously, I have no reason to be. Sometimes trades will be interesting and other times they will be Nike. Nice. And that's how it goes. Also, shout out again to Day Trader Cut for putting those in there. I was not able to see those Fed comments right away, though I was, had my eyes on it looking for it. Also, though, I want to contextualize because some people were saying this could have just been a general drop in the market. I have the SPY up here, and we actually didn't get that much volume on the SPY on the move down. So if you see here, we had less than like 1 million shares traded on that move down in this volume candle. If you look at it, it's not even our largest volume candle of the day. It might be like in the top 5, top 10 on the 5-minute chart here, but it's not. I sort of contextualize that volume a little bit because we did have that volume, but it wasn't super significant. A lot of those names here continuing in a over trajectory, they were continuing in. We had the IWM, which sold off, I would honestly say, much more significantly. We had a huge volume spike to the downside on the IWM comparatively when we had that move down. And we're already right all the way back up above 207s, and that one was hit a little bit harder, right? So I think contextualizing volume is a little bit interesting here for that move to the downside. Again, I would love to tell you all, Nike had a big volume move down when the market moved. It moved no more than 10 cents. So that was a little, it happened. But you're not always going to get the trade of the day. You're going to get a trade that works for you. So leave it to Goolsby, says Bongzilla. Yeah, generally Bostic is not known for moving the markets down. That was usually Loretta Mester, who is now, shout out to her, she's retired. We're going to get Beth Hammock replacing herself to see
Get it, Loretta.
Yeah, Loretta was great for the shorts. I know Big Spile said he would miss her. We also had Goolsby, as Bongzilla was alluding to, usually one that takes the market a little bit more. So we'll have to wait and see. There was another one that does quite a lot. Neil Kashkari. Kashkari is the other one. We called him Crashkari. Sometimes because he does bring down that market there. But I haven't heard from Kashkari in many moons. So hopefully that Neil is doing all right. But yeah, Nike, I don't have much more to say on that. I can't believe this today went by so quickly, and I see you're trying to see if Apple 221 will do something for you.
I wet my beak.
I'm very happy to hear it.
It was a VWAP dip. It's holding above VWAP, so I've already placed my stop below the low of this crest over here. We'll see if we can hold up above it. I don't really have a whole bunch of positive feelings about this market, quite frankly. Amazon is still strong, though. We'll see if VWAP can hold on Apple. That's why I was de-risking to 221. I don't think, yeah, we'll see if we can move back up. Fantastic. If we don't, we don't. We'll see exactly what we get, and we will not get upset. I'm going to set up a possible beak wetter here on Apple. I already have my stop in place, but I want to set up a beak wetter possibly at the $0.25 if it is to move up into that area. So we'll just put it there, and then we're going to say goodbye to everybody, and I'll see everybody very soon on the green screen. Tomorrow, we continue with that earnings lesson today.
Yeah, thank you so much again to Sherif for putting together the lesson, for being here every single day. Appreciate you. And also, I'm very happy that 221s did something for you there on Apple. So good look there. Yeah, this market honestly looks, we're kind of recovering nicely, like above areas we were trading at. I'm using the IWM and the SPY because they are two, kind of larger indices that we will see get a little bit more volume perhaps. But yeah, we had that slight pop there, or I guess that volume pop when we had that drop. But again, SPY, interesting. It wasn't even really that much comparative volume when you look at it on the 5 minutes. So interesting stuff there. What else do we have going on here? Fed should stay in their office cube, says Finstein. Yeah, it's interesting too. I know we generally like the quiet periods there for the Feds, but I think next week should be very interesting with regards to Fed, because we have FOMC minutes coming out on Wednesday, the same day that we get the Jackson Hole Symposium starting. And the theme of the Jackson Hole Symposium, I'm going to get the exact name here, but it has to do with monetary policy. So I think that'll be really interesting here to see, especially in a year where we do have a lot of interest with the monetary policy. We had quite a few people saying that the Fed should have cut rates in July, that we need an emergency rate cut. Some people have walked back those comments, but I think it has been a really, really interesting time here. So this is the name of the Jackson Hole Symposium for next week, reassessing the effectiveness and transmission of monetary policy. That name is very interesting when you think about, and they all have different names. Last year's was a markedly different name. So it's interesting in this time where monetary policy is on everyone's minds for understandable reason. I think it'll be really interesting to see what we do at this event. I want to look here quickly at AMDL here. Freddie, the friendly guy 2.0, mentioning some of these levered ETFs of, what is this? Is this on the NASDAQ? Yeah, basically we had Freddie, the friendly guy, mentioning some of these levered ETFs of some of these mega cap names. It's always worth remembering that these do exist. You can trade them. When Nvidia was 1,000, I was trading it through some of these levered indicators. I'm not able to pull this up for some reason. I'm gonna have to look into the AMDL and NVDX. NVDX though I'll try, because I believe that's either on the Amex or the NASDAQ. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls. Hope you guys had a great time there today. And thank you so much for everything you do. This chat as well, again, please subscribe if you want to join that chat. Nice little volume pop there as we move down here in the NVDX, but much like the rest of the market, we had that move down, trying to continue to go back where we were before. So interesting look there. Yeah, I like this level here at 1345 on NVDX. Freddie, the friendly guy. I like that support to or resistance to support flip. But right now, we are going to have to flip on to the rest of the part of the show. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. We're so happy to have you. Thank you for being a part of this community. Okay, sorry. Nike's still not doing anything, but we're going to be doing something over there in the next show. See you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we are ready. We're going to see Sherif, not here next to me, but he will be on the green screen. See you guys.
Good. Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. What a move up in these markets, but we could be a little bit on the way down. Didn't have an opportunity to put up the futures as we were a little bit pressed for time there, but Tesla, the #1 name on the ticker list, as decided